Son Goku stood nearby, staring curiously at the artificial moon hanging in the sky. Vegeta grabbed him by the shoulder. "Idiot, Kakarot, now's not the time to transform. Don't stare at that fake moon, or you'll trigger it," he snapped. Goku blinked. Sorry. It feels like Lord Beerus's key is over there. And there's another key, a Saiyan's. It's wild, really strong." Since learning how to go Super Blue, Goku could sense Beerus's presence faintly for the first time. Vegeta peered toward the battlefield. "That key is a Saiyan's. He's already in a great ape form, and it has Super Saiyan power. Axis, is this what you meant about the way to Super Saiyan 4? Axis nodded. Vegeta's eyes lit up. Facing a god of destruction and still charging forward, that was the Saiyan spirit. "You have a son fighting Beerus?" Goku called. "I'd like to meet him later. He sounds strong." Axis glanced at the combat zone. "The one fighting is my son, Kratos. He's a half Saiyan. He can become a golden great ape, and his Super Saiyan level has reached Super Saiyan 3. "Let's go take a look," Vegeta said. He wanted to study the golden great ape himself. In theory, the golden great ape pushed power toward the limits of Super Saiyan 3, certainly worth observing. The three of them flew toward the raging battle. On the battlefield, Kratos was seething. When their fight began, he hadn't held back. His grandfather had taught him not to. He had gone Super Saiyan 3 from the start, but Beerus was a blur, impossibly fast and elusive. Kratos fought for a long time without even grazing his opponent's clothes. Frustrated, he used powerful psychokinesis and ki to create an artificial moon, then transformed into the golden great ape, but it didn't help. The great ape was stronger, yes, but slower. Beerus still couldn't be hit. Floating lazily, Beerus yawned. "Is that all you've got? I expected a proper surprise when you changed into a great ape. Still can't touch me," he taunted. Kratos roared and pounded his chest, fury boiling in his eyes. Vegeta and Goku watched, stunned. This golden great ape was imposing. If true Saiyans could reach this form, it was terrifying. Axis hovered nearby, calm. "Kratos, fight with composure," he instructed. "When facing any enemy, stay calm. Only then can you find the openings. Don't let the great ape control you. Control its power. Push past your limits and become Super Saiyan 4. Embrace the great ape's primal power." After Axis had mastered Super Saiyan 4 himself, the artificial moon no longer mattered. The great ape was an imperfect piece of the SS4 power. Fully mastering Super Saiyan 4 meant perfectly controlling the great ape's force, not relying on the moon's Blutz waves. Kratos drew a deep breath. He had thought Super Saiyan 4 impossible because his own modifications from the Emperor had kept his mind rational even in great ape form. He had suppressed madness rather than mastered it. Now, following his father's guidance, Kratos stopped fighting the primal surge. He let it flow through him, instead of trying to choke it off with the rational core the Emperor had given him. He allowed the raw, volcanic power to course through his veins and merged his will with it. A low, steady growl escaped him, no longer frenzied, but full of majesty and iron resolve. The golden great ape's brilliant aura began to withdraw and compress, condensing into something new. Vegeta and Goku held their breath as the chaotic primal energy reformed into a focused, far more dangerous core. The massive golden body convulsed. Red gold light exploded outward, dazzling enough to make them squint. The light didn't simply spread, it contracted and reshaped in an instant. When it faded, a new figure stood between heaven and earth. Kratos was no longer an ape, but a taller, more massive humanoid. A thick black mane fell to his waist like a lion's, and his upper body was covered in red fur, like living armor. His legs were powerful and furred, and a thick tail swayed behind him. His eyes glowed red, and the aura around him was terrifyingly immense. Super Saiyan 4. Kratos had reached it. He closed his eyes and felt it. The difference between Super Saiyan 3 and 4 was night and day. This was real power. Beerus's lazy expression vanished. His purple eyes widened with genuine surprise and interest. "Ho, what an incredible transformation. That aura, it's almost at a godly level. What's your name, kid?" "Kratos, Lord Beerus," Kratos answered, respectful now. He no longer called the opponent a hairless cat. He knew better. He even felt a little stronger than his father in that moment. Whis moved to the side. "Now you can truly enjoy yourself. This is the ultimate form for a regional universe Saiyan, though still immortal." His voice held restrained admiration. Without using destruction energy, This was about as close to a godly level as a mortal could reach. Goku gasped in awe. This is Super Saiyan 4? He could feel the resonance in his own Saiyan blood. Vegeta stared, eyes burning with desire and disbelief. This is the ancestral evolution beyond Super Saiyan 3. This is how a Saiyan is meant to be, wild, primal, perfect. Axis's pride showed plainly. Father, I did it, Kratos said, nodding toward him. Ha, he did, as I expected. Axis laughed. Go, Kratos, show that purple cat what a Saiyan is. Beerus's mouth twitched. You call me a hairless cat, and your father calls me Kitty? Fine, I'll show both of you the force of a god of destruction. Goku cheered from the sidelines. That's awesome. Kratos, show Lord Beerus your power. Before Vegeta could finish, Kratos vanished. So fast! Vegeta's pupils narrowed. Kratos' speed had climbed beyond anything they'd seen, even faster than Super Blue. A flash of motion, and a fist clad in red fur and dark red ki tore through the air toward Beerus's head. So near it sliced the sky and left a jagged shockwave. Good speed, Beerus commented with a bored smile. He moved, and a hand chop sliced at Kratos' wrist. Kratos' punches blurred into afterimages, but Beerus simply caught each one with both hands. Kratos' tail lashed like a steel whip, tearing through the air toward Beerus' midsection. An underhanded, vicious strike. Beerus flickered away from the tail, and at the same time a kick materialized before Kratos' chest, as if teleported. Kratos crossed his arms to block. His red ki rippled violently. The blow sent him flying hundreds of meters backward, but he roared and surged forward again. Boom, boom, explosions hammered across the sky like rain. Their clash began to shatter the atmosphere itself. Even without external aid, Kratos' intensity matched the scale of Goku's previous battle with Beerus as a Super Saiyan god. Beerus, for his part, grinned. He was enjoying the fight. Chapter 402, Kratos was defeated, the god of destruction with 80% power. Amazing! Incredible! Kakarot watched with his blood pumping, itching to jump into the fight himself. Vegeta clenched his fists, eyes flickering with complicated emotion. Power, speed, both have reached a new level. Is this Super Saiyan 4? Can it really stand up to a god of destruction, even temporarily? The shock in him was enormous, and a fierce urge to push himself harder flared up. Axis watched his son with obvious pride. Well done, Kratos. This is Super Saiyan 4, the primal power of our Saiyan bloodline. Use your fists and taste the realm of a god of destruction. Enjoy this fight. In the center of the battlefield, Lord Beerus parried a brutal downward kick from Kratos. A slight tingle ran up his arm, and the interest in his eyes sharpened. Good. Very good. Your name is Kratos, right? Warm-up's over. The purple godly aura around Beerus flared, and his speed spiked. In an instant, Kratos saw a blur, then felt a crushing blow to his gut. He was flung into the distance and slammed into a mountain, shattering it. Beerus casually beckoned to the ruins. Come on out, kid. That shouldn't have done much. With a thunderous rumble, Kratos launched himself out of the wreckage, sending debris flying. The golden red energy around him roared brighter than before. It's not over, he shouted, vanishing into motion. This time his attacks were faster, more focused. Each punch carried terrible force. He whipped his thick tail like a deadly spear, combining it with fists and feet to weave a relentless net of blows around Beerus. Using his tail as a weapon took Axis a little aback. Most Saiyans keep their tails coiled at the waist, but the tail's power was significant. Explosions rocked the sky as their speed blurred to invisible. Word of the fight pulled other familiar faces from Earth. Gohan, Trunks and Goten, a certain galactic patrolman, Bulma, Tien, Krillin, Master Roshi, and even King Piccolo. Piccolo touched down first at Kakarot and Vegeta's side and shot a wary look at Axis. Old man, what's going on? Weren't you dealing with Frieza? Who's that Saiyan fighting a god of destruction? And who is he? Kakarot introduced Axis briefly. This is Axis. He's a Saiyan and very strong. The one fighting Lord Beerus is his son, Kratos. Axis nodded to them before his gaze returned to the battle, his concern for his son obvious. Piccolo studied the pair. They're both Saiyans? Their transformations look the same, but different. Is this a new form? He noticed the red fur and the raw, primal feel far beyond Super Saiyan 3. This is Super Saiyan 4, Kakarot explained. I've never seen it until now. Compared to Super Blue, it feels even more physical, like the Super Saiyan power pushed to its limit. Cut the chatter and watch, Vegeta snapped. though his tone carried its own curiosity. As Prince of the Saiyans, he felt the rawness of SS4 keenly. This is an ultimate Super Saiyan evolution. Axis added, it's not strictly better than Super Blue. My Super Blue, Super Saiyan God, is stronger in the divine sense. The path of a god is different from a mortal's, but SS4 is crushing in raw power. Kakarot's eyes lit up. So, could we fuse Super Saiyan God power with Super Saiyan 4? In theory, yes, but it's extremely difficult in practice, Axis said. The first step is mastering Super Saiyan 4 itself. Vegeta shouldn't have much trouble. Your challenge, Kakarot, will be greater. Humph. I'll master it soon. I won't let you get ahead of me, Vegeta said with a grin, confidence bolstered by watching Kratos and by his recent recovery. I won't lose either, Kakarot muttered, focused and eager. Back in space, the fight had grown more intense. Kratos was starting to falter. The power of a god of destruction reached levels mortals couldn't fathom. Even while holding back, Beerus's strength outranked anything Kratos could bring. A sidekick and a heavy elbow snapped Kratos' body. His consciousness blurred. Seeing his father watching snapped something in him. Anger and battle courage flared. If he could not disappoint Axis, he would not go down quietly. But Beerus was overwhelming. What he was showing now would have crushed most opponents utterly. Roar! Kratos howled. Saiyan blood boiling, he pushed SS4 to its brink. The red fur along his upper body seemed to flare as dark red energy surged, fighting to break free of Beerus's suppression. Still resisting? Beerus's eyes flashed. He admired the spirit, but divine authority was absolute. His leg blurred and multiplied into countless purple shadows that rained down in a storm of blows. In a blink, Beerus struck Kratos' crossed arms, shoulders, and chest dozens of times with precision hits, each blow dense with star-shattering power. Kratos couldn't hold his guard. Blood sprayed from his mouth as his defenses shattered. He lost the last of his strength. His senses went hazy, and he floated in the vacuum, unable to even hold himself upright. Axis shot forward and caught his son, pressing a palm to Kratos' back and channeling life energy to heal him. Beerus, having controlled his strikes, stopped and watched with a pleased expression. The kid had been a terrific fight, damper and more resilient than that other brat, Kakarot. He's a good warm-up, Beerus said lightly, though excitement lingered behind his words. If Whis trained him, he'd go even further. Under Axe's life chi, Kratos came to, painfully sitting up and wiping blood from his lip. Pain surged through him, but a wide grin spread across his face. That hairless cat is strong, but that was the best fight. Father, was that the power of a god? I saw it, even if I'm still far away. Good, Axis said, pulling him to his feet. Remember this. Today's loss is the seed of tomorrow's strength. Kakarot flew straight to Beerus. How much power did you use against Kratos just now? Beerus stretched as if leisurely. Oh, about 80%, I'd say. That kid's much stronger than you were when you first went god. Back then I used 70% and flattened you, silly. Kakarot's jaw tightened, but his eyes burned with resolve. I'll master Super Saiyan 4 too. Then we'll spar again. Chapter 403. Beat Devil? No. I want to beat Gogeta. On the other side, Vegeta could no longer hide the longing in his chest. He suddenly flew in front of Axis, eyes burning with an intensity that was almost a plea. Axis, teach me how to become Super Saiyan 4. Didn't I already tell you the method, with an artificial moon and everything? Stop bothering me. Go down and try to transform. Axis shook his head in exasperation. How annoying. Who should he fight first now? Goku and Vegeta, or the God of Destruction? I understand. So Kakarot and I aren't even worth your attention, Vegeta snapped. As a Saiyan, Vegeta could read Axis's thoughts from the way he looked. At first, Axis had regarded them as opponents, but the moment he spotted the God of Destruction, his attention had shifted. Vegeta, let's wait a bit, Goku said, flying over. If Axis is going to fight Lord Beerus, I want to watch that first. They could train to become Super Saiyan 4 any time. Their tails had already regrown. But a fight between Axis and Lord Beerus was a spectacle they might not see again. Lord Beerus eyed Axis. You brat, you want to fight me too? He asked. He could sense that Axis wasn't ordinary Saiyan. This one had cultivated himself to godly levels. More than a mortal transformed into a god, Axis had become something like a Saiyan god in his own right. That was a different order of power than the Super Saiyan God Goku and Vegeta had briefly used. Even Vegeta's Super Blue owed something to Whiss's tutelage. Compared to a god of destruction, they were still distant. Don't get me wrong, I do want to fight you, but not now. I know fighting you now would be pointless. To everyone's surprise, Axis declined Beerus. A fight with the god of destruction would be interesting, but not the right match. Before he tried to fully comprehend divine energy or fuse Super Saiyan and divine power within himself, Axis needed an evenly matched opponent. Someone stronger would be the wrong kind of test. All eyes followed Axis's gaze and landed on Goku and Vegeta. "Hey, those two brats, even if they team up, they aren't your match right now," Beerus said. He was disappointed. He'd just gotten a little interested, and the kid refused. Whis, watching from the side, smiled faintly. "It seems his target isn't you yet, Lord Beerus. He'll come to you later." Gods have ranks, and among gods of destruction, Beerus was high tier. Only the mouse god was comparable. Axis didn't want Beerus now, because even among gods of destruction, this one was near the top. He would wait. "Suit yourself. I was just stretching anyway. Whis, let's go." Beerus snorted, turning his back and stalking away. Whis waved, clicked his staff, and took the god of destruction back to their planet. "I wish you could have saved a fight with me and Vegeta for later," Goku said, a little regretful as he flew over. He would miss the chance to see Axis versus Beerus, but the promise of finally becoming Super Saiyan 4 and then merging that with Super Saiyan God power was exciting. Axis addressed them both. "I have high hopes for you two. One-on-one or together, you're not an even match for me right now. Even if you become Super Saiyan 4 and combine it with Super Blue, it's still not enough. But there is a way. You have a technique called fusion that merges two warriors into one. It's not 1+1, it's geometric. I want you to use it and fight me." Axis was different from the legendary Broly from the Dragon Ball Super movie. That Broly drew strength from the great ape form and had a raw, explosive physique. Axis's own power trajectory was not the same. The legendary Super Saiyan, in its initial concept, was only a step beyond a regular Super Saiyan, something like Super Saiyan 2 relative to a baseline. If it had been Super Saiyan 3 level, earlier movie Goku wouldn't have stood a chance. In Axis's current Super Saiyan state, he could have clashed with previous versions of Goku and Vegeta easily, but after their near-death revivals, they'd grown drastically, able to rival his Super Saiyan 3. None of that, however, equaled Super Saiyan 4. Even if the pair became legendary Super Saiyan 4, it wouldn't be enough compared to Super Saiyan God Super Blue, and who knew how long it would take them to integrate both powers. The best possible opponent right now, Axis decided, was the fused form. Gogeta. Gogeta's power was a different dimension. Even in normal Super Saiyan, he could rival Broly's rampage. As Super Blue, the gap was massive. Axis wanted to see that in action, and to face it. He also wanted to pilfer the fusion dance technique for himself. He'd only formed the idea before and hadn't been sure it would work. Now the real thing was right in front of him. "That fusion technique exists," Goku agreed. "You want Vegeta and me to fuse and fight you? We can do that. After fusion, our power will shoot through the roof." The only drawback was the fusion dance's time limit, 30 minutes. The Potara earrings would give them a longer fuse, but Super Blue would still burn through energy. I won't fuse with that Kakarot," Vegeta snorted. "You two owe me. I guided you both, used Spirit Tree Fruit to revive you. You can repay me this way." "Of course I'm not against it. Vegeta, don't be stubborn. Let's fuse," Goku urged. Axis offered a suggestion. "You can try the dance. Vegeta, you can control the artificial moon to trigger the golden great ape, then bring that into Super Saiyan 4. That will help you both increase your strength. Then I can fight properly." Vegeta glared, gritting his teeth. He was prince enough to resent the dance. Performing those ridiculous movements with Kakarot was unthinkable. "We can use the Potara earrings. I don't want the dance. It's disgusting." Goku was about to instant transmission to the World King to fetch the Potara, but Axis stopped him. "The Potara are strong, but I want to fight Gogeta. Vegito and other variants can come later." After entering this Dragon Ball world, Axis had to test himself against its ceiling. Before Dragon Ball Super, Gogeta had been the pinnacle of power. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's presence in GT had been overwhelming. He toyed with super evil Omega Shenron, practically playing. Vegito had slipped up in a few arcs, but Gogeta had never been caught off guard. Axis wanted that experience, to see Gogeta face Gogeta, and, if possible, freeload a little of the fusion dance for himself. Chapter 404, Fusion Technique. Arrogant Gogeta Vegeta's face was black with rage, a throbbing vein standing out on his forehead. Dance those idiotic steps? Twist and turn face to face with Kakarot? The very thought tore at the Saiyan Prince's pride. Damn it, why couldn't they use the earrings? He wanted to use the Potara so badly. Absolutely not. I'd rather die than do something so stupid, Vegeta roared. You won't make me do it. Oh, come on, Vegeta. Don't be like that. What's a little silly dance if it means a good fight? Goku scratched his head, trying to cajole him. He truly couldn't see what was so terrible about the fusion dance. It boosted power levels immensely and was convenient for two people to use. Why was Vegeta so stubborn? Axis crossed his arms, a sly smile on his face. Tsk, tsk. Looks like the Saiyan Prince's pride matters more than getting stronger or fighting. Vegito is powerful, sure, but that perfectly calm, rational style after Potara fusion feels lacking. He sighed theatrically. I much prefer Gogeta. There's a touch of Vegeta's wildness in him, unrestrained and savage. But if Vegeta refuses, Goku, go get the Potara. Vegeta choked on Axis's words. That man was clearly trying to provoke him, and he hit a nerve. The idea of becoming the smooth, calculating Vegito made him bristle. The raw fighting hunger in him could not be erased. Gogeta's savage flair felt more like a true Saiyan. How did Axis even know about their different fused forms? Vegeta wanted to snap back, but the insult to his pride fueled something else, competitiveness. Enough, Vegeta cut off Axis's slight. Through gritted teeth and apparent sacrifice, he spat out, Kakarot, hurry up, I'll do it. Just this once. This is the last time. There will be no second. Goku, you're serious? Goku blinked, stunned, then beamed. Great, let's do it. Shut up. Start now, Vegeta bellowed, his face flaming. Don't rush, Goku said. I need to explain the key points of the fusion dance carefully. One mistake, and instead of getting stronger, we could actually get weaker. Piccolo nodded from the side. This needed to be done right. Axis leaned forward, pretending to pay attention, though inside he was entertained by the prospect of watching the outcome. He even wondered, a little gleefully, what would happen to Life Goddess Aisha if she botched the same technique back in the Warhammer universe. The thought of a transformed, oversized Aisha struck him as hysterical. Goku went through the steps and pointers in detail, then rehearsed the dance with Piccolo like he had once taught Trunks and Goten. I've explained everything. Vegeta, you can't make any mistakes. If you mess up, who knows what will appear, Goku warned solemnly. So long-winded. I know. Kakarot, let's just do it. Vegeta snapped. They took their places and faced each other. Vegeta inhaled sharply, trying to swallow down humiliation and anger. He stiffly raised his arms and awkwardly crossed his feet. Vegeta grunted. Sha! Goku answered, his movements fluid and almost cheerful. They began the infamous dance, what Vegeta considered an utterly ridiculous ritual. With each raised hand and twist of the waist, his dignity felt more drained. Inside, he cursed the steps, Axis, and Goku in rapid succession. When their fingertips were about to touch, a burst of light ignited, exactly as expected. But something was off. The light wasn't the overwhelming, blinding blaze they'd imagined. It flickered unevenly, like a faulty bulb. As it died down, the air seemed to congeal. Kratos stared with his mouth hanging open. Axis covered his mouth to keep from laughing, shoulders shaking with barely suppressed glee. What stood before them was a lanky, emaciated figure, tall and scrawny, as if someone had draped an oversized orange and black battlesuit over a stick of bamboo. The clothes hung loose. The face was gaunt, cheekbones prominent, eye sockets hollow, hair plastered thinly to the scalp. The whole aura screamed exhaustion, as if even taking 2 steps would leave him breathless. Failed! Vegeta, your fingers slipped, Piccolo said bluntly. Vegeta could only grit his teeth. The fusion had failed. This meant they'd be stuck for 30 minutes before they could try again. When the fusion wore off, Vegeta's face was thunderous. Goku looked sheepish. I told you to be serious, Vegeta. You can't make mistakes with this, Goku scolded. Chich! I know, Vegeta grunted. After a short rest, they tried again. This time, the blinding white light flared, and a new result materialized, an enormous, rotund man. His height seemed compressed as if he had been inflated. The orange and black suit stretched taut, a bulbous belly pushing forward. A round, doughy face peered down at his own gut. He fumbled to lift a hand and spoke in Goku's familiar, puzzled tone. Huh? Did we succeed? He tried to bounce and nearly toppled over, his bulk wobbling clumsily. Better than the skinny one, Axis observed neutrally. The skinny version had almost zero combat power. Any average fighter could take him out. The fat one, however, has strong durability. That layer of fat gives excellent impact resistance, but it was still a failed fusion. They had to try again. Kratos sidled up to his father and murmured, "Father, this fusion dance is unreliable." The skinny and fat incarnations had trampled his assumptions. Axis only smiled. "Relax, third time's the charm. When they finally fuse properly, you'll see how powerful it is." He thought, with a small private amusement, about how things might play back in the Warhammer world if someone botched the same technique. The image made him snicker inwardly. 30 minutes passed. Piccolo once again gave his terse critique, and the two fighters prepared for the third attempt. Their movements this time were precise, flawless. Every step, every turn was perfect. As their fingers neared, a blinding, incomparably brilliant light exploded outward, swallowing them. A terrifying aura swept through like a violent storm, combining Goku's raw fighting joy with Vegeta's ferocious pride into one dominant presence that seemed to look down on all creation. When the light faded, a tall, impeccably proportioned figure floated in the air. He took the best features of both Goku and Vegeta and intensified them, a more handsome, sterner face, sharp eyes brimming with arrogant confidence. Hair shot upward into wild golden spikes, a few bangs falling across his forehead. He wore the orange and black gi, and a tail flicked casually behind him. He exuded swagger. It was the fusion warrior, Gogeta. "Humph, looks like we made it. Sorry to keep you waiting." Gogeta breathed out, a predatory grin at his lips. His voice was low and magnetic, a blend of both men. "This is a long-lost feeling. The process was annoying, but this power, it's intoxicating. So who's the one bold enough to challenge Gogeta, the legendary Super Saiyan?" "That would be me," Axis said. "But first, you should complete your Super Saiyan 4 transformation, then try merging Super Saiyan 4's power into a Super Saiyan God-level fusion. Your aptitude after fusing will be very high, higher than either Goku or Vegeta alone, so you'll learn fast." Indeed, the fusion improved their overall aptitude. Fusion-born warriors learned at terrifying speed. Gotenk's rapid development had shown that. If Vegeta and Goku could fuse, their learning curve would be exponential. Gogeta smirked, disgusted by any notion of caution. "There's no need for your advice. Bring it on. Let's see if you can even make me go Super Saiyan." He beckoned Axis with a single, arrogant curl of his finger. He was entirely unlike Vegito in composure, reckless, brash. It made sense why Gotenks had been so impulsive. It was in the fusion's nature. Axis didn't bother with words. He erupted into legendary Super Saiyan 4, grabbed Gogeta by the neck, and before Gogeta could respond, hurled them both into space. From the outset, Gogeta's normal form was outclassed. Under the chokehold, Gogeta completed his own Super Saiyan transformation, but it wasn't enough. He pushed into Super Blue, elevating his power dramatically. At that level, he could barely trade a few blows with Axis's legendary Super Saiyan 4, and it was a struggle. "Your biggest flaw is arrogance. You jump in without gauging your opponent," Axis growled as he began to punish Gogeta without mercy. The beating was relentless, brutal, grueling to watch. Gogeta, however, proved himself a worthy foe. His combat genius shone through. At first he was suppressed, but as the fight dragged on, he began to equalize. "Same to you," Gogeta snarled. "You're confident too. I can tell you aren't using all your power yet." Those words lit a fierce excitement in Axis' eyes. This was the feeling he had sought, this oppressive, towering presence that far outstripped the sum of Vegeta and Goku. Perfect. He answered by flaring into his strongest form, the four-color Light Warrior. Golden, green, red, and blue auras burst around him in a deafening roar. The power gap instantly widened beyond comparison. Gogeta in Super Blue could not withstand the onslaught. What followed was a savage, one-sided thrashing as Axis used Gogeta as the perfect training sparring partner. The beating lasted a full 30 minutes. When the fusion finally ended, Axis descended and dragged two men who looked like dead dogs, Goku and Vegeta, back down to the ground. Damn it! How could this happen? Why is the gap so huge? Vegeta grunted, forcing his head up from the ground. He glared at Axis, frustration written across his face. It was humiliating. They had thought the gap had closed, but when Axis revealed that four-color glowing transformation, they were simply outclassed. So powerful, Goku said, lifting his head as well, his fused consciousness still remembering the fight clearly. That four-color form, did you combine legendary Super Saiyan 4, and Super Saiyan God all at once? Axis gave a dry little chuckle. You could say that. The version you two made when you fused has immense talent and potential, but his personality is intolerable. I told him to learn Super Saiyan 4 and master it in the transformed state before fighting me, but he insisted on attacking right away. To be honest, even in Super Saiyan 4, I could have beaten Gogeta. Gogeta's fusion only lasts 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, he can't wear me down. If he even lasts 30 minutes under my hands, it's already a favor. The truth stung, but Axis had to admit something else. Gogeta's potential was ridiculous. If that being could exist permanently without the limitations of fusion, he would be the strongest Saiyan. But he was a miracle born of Kakarot and Vegeta's fusion, temporary, extraordinary, and flawed. Honestly, I think you deserve most of the credit for Gogeta's arrogance, Vegeta, Great Demon King Piccolo said from the sidelines. If Axis hadn't held back, the two of you would have been finished much faster. Goku's personality is humble and steady. He lacks real Saiyan pride. Vegeta, he's the proud one to the core. Vegeta snorted. Humph, give us another one of those spirit tree fruits. I'm going to learn Super Saiyan 4 first. Gogeta's grasping ability is amazing, Goku said, rubbing the bridge of his nose. But if we can both master Super Saiyan 4, then try to fuse and combine Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan God, and even Kaioken, we might be able to beat Axis. As a fusion, Gogeta could use Kaioken, but the technique strains the body horribly. The fusion itself lasted only 30 minutes. Using Kaioken would shorten that window even further. Still, to defeat Axis, it was a risk worth taking. Rest for a bit, Axis said. You two have essentially gone through another near-death revival already. This time, don't disappoint me. He produced 2 second-generation spirit tree fruits and handed one to each of them. He alone had pushed the protagonists this hard. Nobody else would have dared. Without another word, Goku and Vegeta bit into the fruits. Primal life energy rushed through them, knitting wounds and restoring stamina. They both felt the terrifying surge of power that came from a near-death awakening, their potential unlocked further by being pressed to the limit. I'm good to go, Vegeta said, standing. Kakarot, let's learn Super Saiyan 4 and finish this. Hold on, Goku replied. Master 5 taught me that balancing work and rest is important. We've been fighting for a long time, and this revival is a major boost, but new power doesn't become truly yours without training. After we master Super Saiyan 4, we should train a little before rushing back into Axis. Axis allowed a small smile. As expected from the world's protagonist, Goku's idea made the most sense. It maximized their potential. If they wanted to beat him, this was the only sensible path. Vegeta nodded, stretched, and flew up. He gazed at the artificial moon Axis had created, feeling the Blutz waves wash over him. He inhaled sharply and let out a feral roar. Roar! His body swelled and contorted. Golden key flares burst outward, surrounding him in light. In seconds, a massive golden great ape towered in his place, muscular, bathed in golden fur. But unlike the mindless monsters of old, this ape's eyes held Vegeta's sharp reason. He had mastered the great ape's power years ago and could control it now, even in its golden form. Control it, transcend it. This is a Saiyan's true form. Vegeta's voice echoed in the ape's mind. The radiant light across the golden great ape converged, compressing inward. The ape's frame shrank rapidly. A raw, explosive ferocity gathered. When the last of the light sank away, Vegeta stood on the ground in a new form, taller, more muscular, with a mane of thick black hair down to his waist. Red fur covered his torso from shoulders to wrists, and his legs were powerful and furred. A long red tail swayed behind him. Crimson markings ringed his eyes. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta had succeeded. Piece of cake, he said, clenching his furred fist and feeling the savage power flowing through him. A thin smile curved his lips. Wow, Vegeta, that was fast! You did it on the first try. Goku's eyes sparkled. He was eager to try it himself. Your turn, Kakarot. Don't waste time, Vegeta said, arms crossed in the air, curious whether Goku could handle the form as cleanly. All right, watch me. Goku inhaled and focused on the artificial moon. Roar! Goku exploded into a golden great ape as well, equally massive and radiant. But this ape's eyes burned with wild madness. Years ago, a childhood injury had clouded Goku's memory, and he had never been taught to control the great ape. The primal savagery in his blood surged up, threatening his rational mind. Oh no, he can't control it. Piccolo's voice tightened. Dad, wake up! It's me, Gohan! Gohan cried, rushing forward. The golden great ape's gaze snapped to Gohan. With a cry of fury, it swung a huge hand down toward the boy. Gohan, watch out! Oppa, wake up! Piccolo lunged, pulling his son clear. Kakarot, you idiot! Can't you even control this? Think about what I taught you. Vegeta barked. Son Goku, don't be swallowed by animal instinct. Snap out of it! Piccolo shouted. The ape roared, low and strained, its massive body trembling as a fight raged inside it between savage impulse and the friend's calls. Goku seemed to hear them. The ape opened its maw and howled to the sky, a sound that wasn't pure destruction. The golden key around it began to converge and compress, reflecting Vegeta's earlier control. It was a rough, uneven process. The light flickered between wildness and order. A dark crimson suddenly flared through the struggling golden aura and rushed outward, swallowing the gold. The great ape's body shrank violently, the blinding light bled away. When the dust settled, Goku stood where the ape had been, bigger and stronger than Vegeta's Super Saiyan 4, with the same red fur, long black hair, a thick red tail, and crimson eye markings. Vegeta, I did it too. Goku panted, clenching his fists, excitement and relief trembling in his voice. He felt the same raw primal power coursing through him. Super Saiyan 4 Goku had succeeded. Chapter 406, Target, Super Dragon, Cosmic Divine Tree. Vegeta watched Son Goku as the transformation completed. He said nothing, but approval flickered in his eyes. Kakarot, this man, always managed to pull astonishing reserves of willpower at the crucial moment. He really was Vegeta's lifelong rival. Humph, at least you didn't disgrace yourself, he muttered. Piccolo snorted, though relief showed in his expression as well. Good work, Son Gohan shouted happily. Axis, seeing the successful transformations, nodded with satisfaction. It hadn't been for nothing that he had pushed the two near death and revived them twice. After reaching Super Saiyan Blue, their power had already approached the limits of the Super Saiyan line, and they were now capable of attaining Super Saiyan 4. Under Axis's stimulation, and after witnessing Kratos' own Super Saiyan 4, Goku and Vegeta had finally mastered the form. Super Saiyan 4 is primitive, wild, and brutal, Vegeta said. It doesn't tap into godly ki, but it's the Saiyan's most feral power, maybe even their original form. Vegeta, when we get back, we should try to stack Super Saiyan Blue on top of this form, Goku replied. I think it'll work. The last fight with Axis, the four-colored ki he'd seen, and the fusion of Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan had left a deep impression on them. There was no rush to fight Axis again. Now was the time to assimilate what they'd learned. I'll give you half a month, Axis said, stepping forward. I expect you to master this and overlay Super Saiyan Blue on top of it. Can you do it? Having just fought Gogeta and been forced to use a multiform power style, Axis had learned a lot. He'd been defeated, but he'd benefited as well. This universe had many useful things to collect. No problem, Axis. I'll train my hardest, Goku promised. In truth, Goku was a bit bitter that he'd needed to fuse with Vegeta to contend with Axis. He wanted to beat Axis by himself. Bloodlines or not, Goku's goal was to grow stronger. Then I'll be looking forward to it, Axis said. Do you two, father and son, have somewhere to stay? If not, you can come to my house. It's pretty big, Vegeta offered from the side. Axis was powerful, but what Vegeta truly valued was Kratos, who, like him, had just grasped Super Saiyan 4, and would be an excellent sparring partner. You can stay at my place too, Goku added. We can trade training notes. No need. Kratos and I plan to go elsewhere. By the way, can I borrow the Dragon Radar before I leave? I want to collect the Dragon Balls, Axis said. Having come to the Dragon Ball world, he intended to take advantage of its specialties. The Dragon Balls were invaluable. Axis wanted things like Spirit Tree fruit. He'd planted a God Tree before, and had used all the first-generation spirit tree fruit he needed to replenish them. He also wondered whether he could learn to create Dragon Balls himself. "You want the Dragon Radar?" Goku said. "That's fine, but the Dragon Balls were used recently. They'll need about 8 months to recover." Axis's face fell. He'd forgotten about the cooldown. With Frieza's revival and Pilaf's 2 wishes, the Dragon Balls wouldn't be ready for nearly half a year. "You can stay here for a while," Goku added. "If the wish isn't urgent, wait 8 months. Axis rolled his eyes. 8 months was a long time. By then, the Tournament of Power might be underway. That actually gave him an idea. The Tournament of Power promised the Super Shenron's ultimate wish for the champion. The Super Shenron could grant almost any desire, even restoring erased universes. In the new Dragon Ball Heroes storyline, a universe tree capable of growing universes had appeared. If one could acquire such power, one could become a true lord of multiple universes. Axis wanted to see if he could wish for a cosmic tree and become a god who controlled several universes. But there were risks. After the Tournament of Power, the All-King and the Grand Priest might dictate a wish, say, reviving the 7 erased universes, and if Axis refused to follow that, he might be erased himself. He couldn't be sure he could return to his Warhammer universe if things went badly. On the other hand, he didn't necessarily have to put all his hopes on that one event. There were other paths to Super Shenron's power. Lord Champa of Universe 6 and his angel Vados were also collecting Super Dragon Balls for their own contest, and the Gods of Destruction sometimes arranged competitions that granted a wish to the winner. Axis could try to approach Beerus or take part in a Gods of Destruction contest instead. That way, he wouldn't have to risk offending Zeno or the Grand Priest. After thinking it through, Axis decided he'd stay in the Dragon Ball world a while, then compete for access to the Super Shenron and try to wish for a universe tree, the Cosmic Divine Tree. "Kakarot, you idiot," Vegeta scoffed. "You forgot the Namekian Dragon Balls? If Axis wants them, you can just take him to Namek. Those Dragon Balls are even stronger than Earth's." "Oh, right. I forgot," Goku grinned. "Axis, I'll take you to New Namek. There are still Dragon Balls there." "Great, take me there," Axis said. He remembered other variants, the 2-star Dragon Ball mentioned in the Granola Saga and a few found in other realms, but the Namekian and Earth Dragon Balls, and even the Black Star Dragon Balls, were the most reliable. Just as they were about to leave, Piccolo intervened. "Wait, you're Axis, yes? What are you planning to wish for on Namek? If it's anything dangerous, the Great Elder won't let you use them." The Namekians trusted Goku, but Axis was still an unknown. Axis answered calmly, "I only want the spirit tree fruit I gave to Goku and the others before, and a few special treasures. I won't use the Dragon Balls for anything bad. There's no need." "See?" Goku said. "He's not after anything evil." Piccolo snorted, unwilling to argue further. "Fine. Go then." He turned and flew away. Goku smiled, placed a hand on Axis's shoulder, synced with the Great Elder of New Namek's key, and activated instant transmission. In an instant, he took Axis and Kratos to New Namek. The instant transmission Son Goku used and the instant transmission Axis used were entirely different in origin. Axis's version was theoretical, an ability developed by the life goddess Aisha through the warp. Without the warp, it would be nearly useless. Goku's technique, by contrast, simply required him to sense another's ki. With that, he could instantly travel anywhere in the universe. That ability, however, was of limited use in the Warhammer universe, because so few beings there had ki to detect. Axis could instantly appear only near the life goddess Aisha, a few cultists who had ki, or near his son. In that setting, Aisha's warp-based instant transmission was actually more practical. When Goku performed instant transmission, Axis watched closely. He widened his eyes, used his god of chi to analyze the method, and tried to commit it to memory. The principle was simple enough. Cell had been able to learn it after watching once. For someone with divine power like Axis, it wasn't difficult at all. Still, the technique had limits. You needed to sense the target's ki, and the stronger the Kai, the clearer the destination. Otherwise, you might end up anywhere, and if the target's Kai was too weak, it couldn't be located at all. That explained why, during the Frieza saga, Goku had relied on the World King God's sense to find people on Namek. Goku's instant transmission had no flashy effects, just a whoosh and a flash. and the two of them arrived on planet Namek. Around them were round houses and many green-skinned Namekians with two antennae tending plants. Namekians were a unique race. They had no gender distinction. An adult could form an egg within their body and spit it from their mouth to hatch a new being. Powerful Namekians could influence what hatched. Demon King Piccolo's mutated offspring in other tales were an example of that. Ordinary Namekians rarely reproduced. The power to do so usually rested with Eldars. Namekians also had astonishing regenerative ability. Losing a limb was a minor injury, and some could freely change their size. Piccolo had used that in his first fight with Goku. They possessed life fusion, a technique where one individual could pour everything of themselves into another without losing consciousness. In the series, Piccolo fused with Nail, and later Universe 6 Namekians fused in the Tournament of Power to create extremely powerful beings. The most remarkable thing about Namekians was their ability to create Dragon Balls. Dragon God Zalama had created the Super Dragon Balls and left behind scraps of power. The Namekians had used those to fashion the Dragon Balls the heroes used. "Long time no see, Son Goku. Why have you come?" a Namekian called. "It's you, Son Goku, welcome," others cried, swarming forward. Goku's reputation among Namekians was enormous. Smiling, he waved. "Yo, long time, everyone." Surrounded, Goku and Axis, father and son, were led to a large house where the current Grand Elder of Namek lived. He was also the guardian of Namek's Dragon Balls. "Long time no see, Son Goku. Are you here with something you need our help with?" the Grand Elder asked kindly. Goku did not mince words. "Grand Elder, I've come for help. This is my friend Axis. He wants to use the Dragon Balls to make a few wishes." The Grand Elder nodded and turned to Axis. Namekians had a mysterious psychic sense. They could tell how many lives a being had taken and judge whether a soul was essentially good or evil. That was one reason Goku was welcomed. He'd saved many planets and carried a righteous aura. Axis's chi registered as merely ordinary. Though he had killed many, the Grand Elder sensed that most of Axis's victims were wicked beings, orcs, tyrannids, chaos demons, killed after Axis's transmigration into the Warhammer setting. Kratos, however, who accompanied Axis, carried a heavy, malevolent aura. He had slain countless innocents during the Emperor's Great Crusade and radiated a cruelty that made the Grand Elder uneasy. "Mr. Axis," the Grand Elder said, "tell me what you intend to wish for. If you will be the one to use them, I can lend you the Dragon Balls, but I cannot entrust them to the one beside you." He looked pointedly at Kratos. "It will be me who uses them. Kratos will not," Axis replied. "I only want a few precious items, like the Spirit Tree fruit." The Grand Elder hesitated, then agreed. He instructed several capable Namekians to fetch the scattered Dragon Balls. The race prized peace and rarely used supernatural powers. They kept their Dragon Balls in different villages. Goku's word carried weight. The Grand Elder trusted him and did not refuse. "Kratos," Axis added quietly as they waited, "when you fight orcs, tyrannids, and chaos, go all out. But don't apply that human supremacy rule to other races in the galaxy and slaughter them wantonly. It won't help you." Soon the 7 Dragon Balls were gathered. The Grand Elder intoned an old incantation. The sky darkened. The orbs flared with golden light and shot upward. Lightning rolled and thunder cracked. The golden radiance coalesced into a titanic, dragon-like form that dwarfed the landscape, green-bodied, horned, thousands of miles long. Porunga, the Namekian dragon, had been summoned. "O one who gathered the 7 Dragon Balls," Porunga's voice boomed, "speak your wish. I can grant any of your requests. You may make 3 wishes." "Mr. Axis," the Grand Elder urged, "tell me your wishes. Porunga understands only Namekian. I will convey them." Axis produced a fruit, what he called a first-generation divine tree fruit, and held it up. "My first wish is perfect seeds of the divine tree fruit, the same kind as this. I want perfect seeds." The Grand Elder translated. Porunga replied, his eyes glowing red. "You wish for perfect seeds. This fruit is from the World King God, a godly fruit. I can give you seeds, but to grow them, you must plant them with the World King God's help. Alternatively, I can give you fruits. For one wish, I can give 10. "Give me as many perfect seeds as you can," Axis said. "Spending 1 wish is fine." Porunga's eyes flared. A bag appeared before Axis, filled with plump, reddish seeds, perfect divine tree seeds, the finest. "I will give you 100 perfect seeds," Porunga declared. "Your wish is granted. the dragon said. Now, what are your second and third wishes? My second wish, Axis said after a pause, is to be able to absorb God of Destruction energy normally. The Grand Elder translated. Purunga's head shook. I am sorry, that wish is beyond my power. Please choose another. Can you tell me how to cultivate God of Destruction energy? Axis tried. No, that too I cannot provide. Can I learn Ultra Instinct, Autonomous Ultra Instinct? Axis asked next. No, Purunga replied. I cannot grant that. Axis rolled his eyes. The dragon could not help with divine energy or higher martial states. After thinking, he revised his request. Very well. My second wish, reset the cooldown on Earth's Dragon Balls so they can be used right now. The Grand Elder translated, and Purunga nodded. That is simple enough. Light flared, and the wish was granted. Your wish has been granted. What is your final wish? Purunga asked. For my last wish, I want some fragments of the wish-granting orb, Axis said. He planned to see if Earth's Shenron could help later with creating Dragon Balls. Orb fragments were vital for that. Purunga considered. I cannot create orb fragments from nothing, but there are fragments in this world. I can fetch some for you. Please wait a moment. With that, the Namekian dragon's red eyes glowed, and its enormous form began to stir, ready to seek the fragments Axis requested. Chapter 408. Huge scraps, the raw materials for making Dragon Balls. The fragments of the eyeballs turned out to be leftover scraps from when Dragon God Zalama created the Super Shenron. Most of them had been taken by the Namekians long ago, but a small portion remained in Universe 7. After a sudden burst of light, golden, crystal-like masses, exactly the same color as Dragon Balls, materialized before Axis. Each crystal measured hundreds of cubic meters. There was enough material to make more than a dozen sets of supersized Dragon Balls, with plenty left over. For Earth's Dragon Balls, a single small piece would probably suffice for a whole set, leaving still more surplus. Axis was stunned. He had expected some scraps, but never a quantity like this. Purunga, having fulfilled the task, inclined his head to Axis. These are the remaining fragments of the Wish Orbs. This is all that remains in Universe 7. I have fulfilled your request, Gatherer of the Dragon Balls. Farewell. With that, the Namekian dragon shot into the sky and vanished in an instant, dissolving into 7 beams of light that scattered across planet Namek. My goodness, that's a lot! I didn't expect so much, Son Goku said, peering at the crystalline fragments on the ground. They're the same color as the Dragon Balls. If it weren't for the shape, I'd think you were bringing me more Dragon Balls, Axis. The Grand Elder of Planet Namek stepped forward to explain. You could say these are the most primitive form of the Dragon Balls. The materials used to make Namek's Shenron were leftover remnants from the Wish Orbs that Dragon God Zalama once used. That's why their color is identical. These fragments are the original raw materials for creating Dragon Balls. Without them, even if you knew the method, you couldn't craft a complete set. It was odd. How did this Cyan Axis know about the Wish Orbs? That was knowledge usually reserved for gods. Among the Namekians, only the Grand Elders had inherited the memory, and they had kept it tightly guarded. Axis had somehow learned it. So that's how it works, Goku said, scratching his head. I always thought Kami-sama just molded Shenron out of mud and gave him life. I didn't know there was real material used to make them. The Grand Elder smiled. The Dragon Balls possess incredible power. Shenron can perform feats Kami-sama cannot. It's not that Kami-sama alone fashioned them from nothing. Namekian methods and materials are involved as well. Axis added, smiling, actually, these are the most basic materials. If you're strong enough and you know the crafting method, any Namekian could, in theory, make Dragon Balls. The Grand Elder nodded. In fact, if Dende had stayed, he would have been a contender for the next Grand Elder of Namek. The young Nemkian who became Earth's guardian had been a prodigy, mastering the Dragon Ball making method at a very young age, just as Piccolo had once done. Dende could conjure Shenron with a wave of his hand and a strange incantation. Ah, so Kami-sama and Dende didn't conjure Dragon Balls from nothing, Goku realized. They used these materials and special chants to form them. Axis grinned. Exactly. The Dragon Ball's magic is what makes Shenron capable of things ordinary Namekians couldn't do by themselves. The Grand Elder fixed Axis with a serious look. This Wish Orb material is extremely precious. It was created by Dragon God Zalama. Please use it carefully. Axis had made his intentions clear. He planned to use the Dragon Balls multiple times and even wanted to craft a set himself. But creating Dragon Balls properly required not only the material, but also Dragon Clan bloodline, and ultimately, Zalama's blessing. The Grand Elder was relieved that Earth's Dragon Balls were weaker than Namek's, and that Namek's Shenron couldn't grant anyone the ability to create Dragon Balls, which calmed some of his anxieties. "I promise," Axis said smoothly, "I will not abuse the Dragon Balls in this world, in this universe." He could guarantee that for Universe 7. In other universes, he had other plans. "Very well, that puts my mind at ease." Axis didn't intend to take everything. He left about 1 cubic meter of the Wish Orb fragments on Namek and handed them to the Grand Elder. "I won't use all of it. Keep this piece. It should be enough to make a set of Dragon Balls, or if you divide it, several sets." The Grand Elder accepted it gratefully. The Namekians needed such a safeguard. Even with Goku's strength, he could not be relied upon forever. Saiyans were not immortal. When Goku and his line eventually passed, nothing guaranteed the Namekians would be safe from future calamities. After a few more pleasantries, Axis and Goku returned to Earth together. Watching Goku use instant transmission, Axis studied the technique carefully. His aptitude seemed a bit weaker. Where villains like Cell and Kid Buu supposedly picked it up instantly, Axis only caught the general idea after one demonstration and truly mastered it on the second try. Back on Earth, Axis settled near Goku's home with his son Kratos and set up temporarily. "Rest here and take it easy, Axis," Goku said. "We'll see each other in half a month. Vegeta and I plan to train with Angel Whis during that time." "That's fine, Mr. Son Goku," Axis answered. Then he hesitated and made a request. "I have a favor to ask." "Sure, whatever it is, I'll help." Goku was already inclined to agree. Axis explained, "Kratos has already attained Super Saiyan 4, but he hasn't comprehended Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue. Could you and Vegeta take him with you to train with Angel Whis? Kratos might benefit from Whis's guidance." Goku's face lit up. "Kratos, of course, no problem. I'll put in a good word. When Whis comes to pick us up next time, I'll bring Kratos along." Goku owed Kratos and Axis a debt. If Kratos hadn't intervened previously, Earth might have been destroyed by Frieza. Helping was the least he could do. Plus, having another person training might speed Goku and Vegeta's own progress. "And Axis," Goku added, grinning. "Why don't you come too? Let's train together." Chapter 409, Axis's Ambition. The cosmic tree integrates the multiverse and becomes the god of creation. Axis smiled at Goku's suggestion. Goku's idea was good, but naive. He and the others were different. Although Goku, Vegeta, and the rest had mastered Super Saiyan God and Super Blue forms, they had not truly become gods. With the Life Goddess's divine power, Axis had fully ascended to godhood in just 300 years. The only differences between him and a god of destruction were that he had not mastered destructive energy, and his lifespan was shorter. Whis had guided Goku and Vegeta because he wanted to train new gods of destruction. Perhaps, out of respect for the two Saiyans, Kratos could learn as well. After all, teaching 1 was teaching 2 was teaching, and teaching 3 was still teaching. "I'll pass, Goku. I don't think Angel Whis would train me. I'd rather cultivate on my own. Besides, my current power isn't something that gains from ordinary training," Axis said. "How will you know if you don't try? Master Whis is excellent. It's because of Lord Whis's guidance that Vegeta and I are this strong," Goku replied. Even after Axis had defeated the fused Gogeta, Goku could sense that Whis was on another level entirely. "Father, I think I could just follow your training," Kratos protested. He did not want to learn from any angel. He had admired the Emperor and wanted to be like his father. After Axis's return, Kratos finally understood how powerful his fatherly was, far greater than the Emperor, the one who had once stood above his grandfather. Axis had even defeated the Dark King. His father had become a god by his own strength. As his son, Kratos refused to fall behind. Besides, divine power was something Axis possessed too. "Don't say that, Kratos. Remember, the stones of other mountains polish one's own jade. A good teacher can spare you many detours. Do you know how long it took me to go from Super Saiyan 4 to Super Blue Super Saiyan God? 300 years. Goku and the others did it in under a year. Do you understand the gap?" Axis said. Goku's first Super Saiyan God form had relied on a bit of trickery, but he had ultimately succeeded. Axis had ascended to true godhood, and through his Super Saiyan transformations, had developed a four-color merged form. A pure Super Blue or Super Red was not necessarily far stronger than the legendary Super Saiyan 4. If Kratos trained under Axis, he might eventually master Super Saiyan God and Super Blue, but it would likely take a very long time. I understand, Father. If Lord Whis is willing to guide me, I'll go. I promise I'll never disgrace you or the Saiyan race, Kratos said, resolute. Goku sighed. Axis, Kratos, I envy you. Gohan just doesn't want to train with me. If Gohan would train like Kratos. Goku's carefree nature hid deeper feelings. He hadn't truly understood parenthood or marriage at first. He'd learned through living together with Chi-Chi and raising his children. Training and getting stronger were in a Saiyan's blood, though, and he wished Gohan would share that dream. But Gohan preferred scholarship to— At least Gohan was now married, and the Yangs were wealthy, almost second only to the Briefs family, so they were well provided for. Everyone has their own aspirations, Axis said calmly. You can't force your ideas on others. Gohan's personality won't change unless a true crisis forces him to pick up his gi again. Leave the rest to me, Goku said. Kratos, Axis, stay nearby. Next time Whis comes to take Vegeta and me to the God of Destruction's planet, I'll ask him to take you along. Axis nodded. Goku left them a Dragon Ball radar and returned home. Father and son settled into a simple house created from a spatial device. After Goku left, Axis handed Kratos the radar. Kratos, this shows the Dragon Ball's locations. Now that they've reformed, go collect all 7, Axis instructed. I understand, Father. Kratos shot into the sky. With his power, collecting the 7 Dragon Balls on Earth was trivial, unless Goku, Vegeta, or Gohan interfered, but even they could only match him. In half a day, Kratos had them all and returned. That evening, Axis and Kratos traveled to a desolate, icy region north of Earth to summon the Dragon God where they wouldn't draw attention. Axis chanted the summoning. The 7 Dragon Balls lit up and a torrential bolt struck down. An enormous oriental dragon, entirely cyan and stretching tens of thousands of meters, appeared, classic, majestic, and familiar. You, who have gathered the 7 Dragon Balls, the dragon intoned, lowering its head. State your wishes. I can grant 3. My first wish is to obtain the Demon Realm royal family's treasure, the third eye, Axis said. He intended to gift the third eye from the great Demon King continuity to his wife Kasha or to other gene seed Primarchs to create beings at the level of Super Saiyan 4. I am sorry, but I cannot grant that wish, the dragon replied. The third eye does not belong to this universe. I cannot affect objects from another world. Axis nodded. He had suspected as much. When he had previously summoned Namek's dragon god Purunga, he had noticed the dragon say it gathered fragments only from Universe 7. The dragon's power was confined to its own universe. It could not grant objects or effects that belonged to other universes. Then my second wish, Axis continued. I already have the ability to pierce dimensional barriers and visit other worlds. I wish you would perfect that ability. Let me precisely locate and freely travel to parallel universes. Axis's spatial travel hadn't been an inherent part of Super Saiyan God, but something latent he'd carried since he transmigrated into the Dragon Ball world. With that potential unlocked at true godhood, he could now traverse worlds on a limited scale. He wanted the dragon's help to make it precise and unrestricted. I cannot bestow universe travel power if you didn't already possess it, the dragon said. But you already have a trace. I can integrate and refine it so you may freely and precisely traverse other universes within your reach. The dragon's eyes glowed red and enveloped Axis. The vague sense of spatial power he had became crystalline. Barriers could be torn with emotion. Coordinates of distant universes became pinpointable. If he wished, he could now return completely to his original world. Your first wish has been granted, the dragon declared. Now, name your remaining 2 wishes. Thank you, Axis said. For my second wish, I want the ability, like the Namekians, to create Dragon Balls. The dragon lowered its head. I am sorry, I cannot grant that. The Namekian method is a blessing from the super dragon god Zalama. That blessing is beyond my authority. Then how does one obtain Zalama's blessing? Can my second wish be changed to acquiring Zalama's blessing? Or can you tell me precisely how to create Dragon Balls? Axis asked. That question falls within the scope of a wish, the dragon said. I can answer, but it will consume one of your wishes. Do you accept? Axis considered briefly and nodded. The blessing of Zalama was given at the dawn of creation to certain indigenous, benevolent peoples. To obtain it, you must wish to the super dragon god, the dragon created by Zalama. Only with Zalama's blessing can you use wish-granting orb fragments to make Dragon Balls. The strength of any dragon god you create depends on your own power and the size of the orb fragments you use. The stronger you are and the more fragments you combine, the stronger the dragon god you can create. Axis absorbed the explanation. Clearly, the Namekian elder had anticipated many possibilities and had not interfered over fractions of fragments for that reason. But to get Zalama's blessing, Axis would need to approach the super dragon god itself and use a wish, likely more than one. He couldn't let the Dragon Balls he made have the power to seize the universe tree. Instead, his plan was to use the universe tree technique to integrate all parallel Warhammer universes into one and become a true creator god. He would need other ways to recover erased universes as well. You're welcome. That was the reward for gathering the 7 Dragon Balls. Name your third wish, the dragon said. Axis framed his third wish as a question. Dragon God, how can an erased universe be restored after the All-King has obliterated it? The dragon regarded him for a moment, almost speechless. Then it said, there are 3 methods. First, the All-King can actively restore an erased universe. Second, a dragon god created by Zalama can restore a universe. Third, Lord Zalama himself can intervene to create another universe. Create a universe? Axis echoed, astonished. All existing universes were created by Zalama? The dragon's voice cut in. All your wishes have been granted. I will answer no more questions. With that, the enormous dragon dispersed and vanished. The dragon god dissolved into 7 beams of light and streaked across the world, leaving only Axis and his son Kratos standing on the Arctic glacier, lost in thought. Axis was a little speechless. Zalama had moved incredibly fast, but what really bothered him was that the Earth Dragon God's power, impressive as it was, couldn't grant the wishes Axis wanted. Father, Kratos said, breaking the silence. He could feel the solemnity in Axis's expression, and his voice trembled. What the Dragon God said at the end, all kings' power of erasure. And Dragon God Zalama, what kind of beings are they, able to erase or create universes so easily? This scale of power was beyond Kratos' imagination. The old Dark King had been able to destroy a universe, and his threat had once forced their ancestors into desperate positions. If Axis hadn't launched his furious counterattack at the end, he and Sanguinius and Uncle Magnus might have been trapped in the webway for 10,000 years. But now there were gods who could create universes and reduce them to nothing with a thought, beings on a scale Kratos could scarcely comprehend. Kratos, Axis said slowly, the universe we live in, and the countless parallel universes beyond it, are vast. Threats here far exceed anything from our world. From what I know, the All-King is the supreme being. He can erase a universe and all its life with a single thought. Dragon God Zalama is a primordial ancestral deity, the creator of the Dragon Balls. His power is unfathomable. Axis had suspected as much before. Now, with the Earth Dragon God's confirmation, he could conclude that Zalama was the creator of this world. It was a pity that Akira Toriyama had passed before he could complete some of those cosmic settings for Dragon Ball Super. Zalama remained largely off-stage in the original works, but within this reality, the Dragon Balls were the true core. Zalama was, in effect, the creator god. Father, do you want the power to make Dragon Balls? Do you know how to obtain the Super Dragon Balls? Kratos asked. In time, an opportunity will come, Axis replied. If you can go to the God of Destruction's planet to train, pay attention to one thing. If a God of Destruction appears who looks like Beerus, but is much fatter, that will be the chance I've been waiting for. Axis suspected that Beerus might ask him to participate in a martial arts tournament hosted by 2 gods of destruction. The top fighters of the Dragon Ball world had already reached levels past the Tournament of Power arc. Near-death revivals and new power-ups had pushed them dangerously far. Even though Goku hadn't yet mastered Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta hadn't fully realized Super Blue, both had attained Super 4 at least once. I understand, Father, Kratos said. But if you could also go to Beerus's planet to train, would you go? If Goku can persuade Whis, then I would, Axis said without hesitation. Angels were the real arbiters of succession, the ones who could teach how to cultivate and wield a god of destruction's energy. Gods of destruction were powerful, but the angels, like Whis, were on another level entirely. If Axis could train on Beerus's planet under Whis, it would be the perfect chance to learn God of Destruction energy. If that wasn't possible, Axis planned to use his newfound ability to travel between parallel universes to search for the third eye of the demon realm or to bring back useful technology from movie worlds. In one film's universe, Frieza's brother Metal Cooler's army had staggering tech and regenerative capacity. Even ordinary grunt robots from that world could overwhelm Emperor-class titans in the Warhammer cosmos. Mass-produced Metal Coolers, each roughly at the peak of an early Super Saiyan, would create an army Axis could scarcely imagine. In a place like that, Gene Seed Primarchs might as well retire. Let's hope Goku convinces Whis, Kratos said. Don't think about that now, Axis replied. You've reached Super Saiyan 4 and mastered Chi energy. Your combat power is already a good sparring match for me. I'll train you and help you refine Ultra Instinct. Yes, father. For the next few days, Axis devoted himself to teaching Kratos. They trained in the wilds every day. Kratos had to learn control, how to focus a planet-shattering blow into breaking a single stone into atoms, how to limit his power exactly to what he intended to destroy, and nothing more. Precision, not just raw force. Axis trained his son and honed himself in the process. A few days later, Goku flew in, excitement on his face. 10 minutes earlier, Whis had come to Earth bearing a large selection of delicacies Bulma had prepared. Goku and Vegeta had asked Whis for a fresh round of training on the God of Destruction's planet. Whis, who eyed candidates for godhood, agreed without hesitation. Whis, Goku said, the Super Saiyan you met before, Axis, and his son Kratos, can you take them both to the God of Destruction's planet to train? Vegeta frowned at Goku's casual suggestion. Whis didn't just teach for sport, he prepared future gods of destruction. But Whis replied calmly, he only took life forms born in Universe 7 as disciples. Although Axis had lived in another universe for a time, he was still a Universe 7 native. If Axis agreed, Whis could teach him. For Kratos, Whis hinted playfully that a few more delicacies might sweeten the deal. Training new candidates was up to the Angel's discretion. The Grand Priest hadn't mandated a fixed number. Whis had the freedom to take on whom he pleased. Vegeta immediately offered to call Bulma and have more food sent. That's great, Whis, Goku said. I'll go get Axis and Kratos. Moments later, Axis and Kratos stood before Whis. The Angel nodded, waved his staff, and a white light enveloped them. In 20 minutes, they arrived on the God of Destruction's planet, traveling at speeds tens of thousands of times faster than light. The planet itself was small, about the size of a moon, but it thrummed with divine energy. Axis, whose life goddess Aisha had become an intern world king god, still found the divine potency here overwhelming. We've arrived. Lord Beerus is sleeping. If there's nothing important, don't wake him, Whis said. Vegeta, Goku, put on my special training suits. Kratos, you too. Today's mission is simple. Run 100 laps around the planet, then do 100,000 push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and pull-ups. Goku and Vegeta immediately put on Whis's suits. Kratos blinked. Planetary laps and 100,000 calisthenics were a strange regimen. Axis smiled. Trust Master Whis, Axis said. This planet is saturated with divine power. Pushing your body to the limit here lets you absorb that energy and break through your current levels. Do as he says. Whis wasn't interested in flashy shortcuts. He wanted Goku and Vegeta to evolve their bodies into a divine state, not merely learn a cosmetic transformation like Super Saiyan Red or Blue. In his view, true power came from strengthening the body itself. Beerus had no need for overt forms. If one wanted more power, simply raise it internally. Master Whis, what will Axis do? Goku asked. Is he training with us? Axis is beyond what you three need right now, Whis said. I'll take him for deeper cultivation. Goku brightened at the news. Axis, you worked hard before. We'll catch up soon. Whis escorted Axis to the far side of the planet for private instruction. Vegeta, Goku, and Kratos began their grueling regimen. Once they were alone, Whis studied Axis and said, Before we begin, there are a few things I want to point out. Please, guide me, Axis replied. I've cultivated by myself for many years with no real reference. I borrowed from many systems and worked things out on my own. I'll be direct, Whis said. You need to integrate your transformation powers. You have many forms: Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Legendary Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan God, and your fusion power. They each raise your output, but they are all expressions of the same inherent strength. Why must they only be available after a transformation? You already possess that strength. What you must do now is integrate them. Keep those abilities, but strip away the flashy effects. In your base, original state, you should be able to unleash your fullest strength. Achieve that, and your power will ascend to a new plane. Whis explained that Saiyan transformations were effective, but essentially borrowed power amplifications, dramatic in appearance, but ultimately circumstantial. Even a 10,000-fold increase could be countered by a god of destruction by a small percentage increase. True advancement came from harmonizing and internalizing those energies so that the base form itself was godlike. Axis had already thought along these lines and had tried to reconcile those issues, but the Saiyan heritage made those transformations reflexive. Whis urged integration, not obliteration of the skills. Axis's four-color experiment had been a worthy attempt, but it still relied on external visual cues. Now Whis wanted him to remove the spectacle and leave a single, primordial form from which his greatest power flowed naturally. You have a longer road than Goku and the others, Whis said kindly. You've reached true godhood already, so teaching you is simpler in some ways. Goku, Vegeta, and Kratos still have much more to learn. I understand, Master Whis, Axis said. Work hard, Whis said with a smile. I'll be watching. If you need anything, ask. And tell me about the other universe. Is there any good food there? Axis could only smile at that last question. He thought of the Warhammer universe, the Warp, the Chaos Gods, the Orcs and Tyranids, and then suppressed a laugh. As for delicacies, the options were grim. Ant cow rations, tasteless nutrient fluid, or the infamous corpse starch. Not exactly Bulma's style, but perhaps interesting in their own brutal way. Chapter 411. Under the guidance of the angel, you can comprehend the power of the god of destruction. No problem, Teacher Whis. If you're interested, I can tell you about our universe. We have a very peculiar life form there. They are born in a place called the Warp, which is the intersection of fantasy and reality. Axis began to explain the Warhammer worldview to Whis. The Warp was a uniquely strange region. Oh, a realm of mental fantasy and reality. Isn't that similar to our hell? Whis mused. After Axis's introduction, the Warp sounded a lot like the hell of his own cosmos. In Wiss's world, however, every planet in the Netherworld had an administrator, and the ultimate ruler was the Grand World King God. Something like that. But besides containing souls, the Warp also spawns creatures called Chaos Demons. They're purely energy-based life forms, and their goal is to devour the souls of living beings in the real universe. Axis continued. From what you're saying, they sound truly vile, worse even than the demon realm. You know about the demon realm, right? Whis nodded. Though the demon realm sealed away many evil races, they were hardly as twisted as those born of the Warp. Hearing Axis describe the actions of the Chaos Demons, Whis felt that the world Axis came from desperately needed a god of destruction to cleanse it. It was bizarre. If the Warp was where souls returned, why would such monsters be born there? When I first arrived, I thought the same, Axis admitted. But Chaos Demons are inexhaustible. Kill 1,000 and 1,000 more will be born, so long as living beings in the real universe harbor evil thoughts, greed, or other negative emotions. And within the Warp itself, 4 immensely powerful Chaos Gods have arisen: Tzeentch, Slaanesh, Khorne, and Nurgle, each embodying some of the most corrupt, cold, and wicked emotions. Axis chuckled, then described another Warp-born anomaly, the Chaos Gods. What peculiar evil gods! They have no physical form, and yet are the most powerful deities in that universe. That really is strange. Illogical even, Whis said, stroking his chin. Such Warp gods, by rights, should be at least World King God level, yet they were bodiless and cut off from the material universe. If you're curious, Teacher Whis, I can take you to my universe so you can see for yourself, Axis offered. He suspected the Old Ones were involved, and Whis, as an angel, was an overwhelmingly powerful combatant, a top-tier figure in any world. Oh, ho ho, the idea is tempting, but as an angel, I can't travel to other places without permission, unless a god of destruction goes with me, Whis replied. Haha, then forget it, Axis said. Inviting you is one thing, but inviting Lord Beerus might be dangerous. He could destroy my universe. The destructive power of a god of destruction was unquestionable. When Axis had fought Gogeta, the aftershocks had torn at the fabric of space. If they hadn't restrained themselves, shattering the universe might have been a real risk. A fight between a god of destruction and a Super Saiyan god could easily collapse a universe. Axis also knew Beerus's temper. He was volatile. In the eyes of Dragon Ball characters, the Imperium of Man looked no better than Frieza's Legion. Axis worried that some clueless local might offend Beerus and trigger disaster. You're right, Lord Beerus has a bad temper. Still, once your training is finished, you'll be able to handle the problems there yourself. You're a native of that regional universe. When you have the time, you can return home, Whis said. He wouldn't be so forthcoming with someone not born in Universe 7, but since Axis was, Whis could confidently guide him. That's my plan. I want to return to my homeland. I want the power of a god of destruction so I can go back and take out the masterminds behind all this, Axis said. Then work hard and train diligently. By the way, does your universe have any special delicacies? Whis's eyes lit up. Food from another world intrigued him most. I'm sorry, Teacher Whis. The cuisine of the Imperium of Man is probably nothing like Earth's. Their food is utilitarian. But there is a race called the Eldar. They were once among the most advanced in the universe, decadent and pleasure-seeking. Their tastes are almost unrivaled. I can visit and see if I can bring back anything you'll like, Axis replied. The Imperium's fare truly was basic, food to fill the stomach, in some places even recycled corpses. The Eldar, by contrast, were hedonists, the galaxy's premier connoisseurs of pleasure. The Imperium hadn't even established paradise or garden worlds as resorts. Whis perked up. It sounds like your faction is a war-driven, rapidly expanding legion. No wonder their food is poor. I'm very interested in these Eldar you mentioned. Axis, you must bring me some unique Eldar delicacies, or better yet, bring a top Eldar chef. And get some ingredients, too, Whis requested. No problem, Teacher Whis, Axis said easily. That was a trivial task for him. All right, small talk over. Now I will guide your training. They fell silent, and Whis began instructing Axis, especially on how to integrate his power. Axis listened intently. Whis's teaching targeted Axis's power system. His strength came from stacking multiple potent transformations. As Whis put it, those forms were more like switches, external modes that had to be turned on, not his inherent state. I understand, Teacher Whis, Axis said, eyes hardening. I'll try to strip away those external forms and find the origin of my power. Axis closed his eyes. He stopped provoking the S-cells, stopped channeling the golden Super Saiyan aura, stopped calling the red brilliance of the God realm, stopped mobilizing the berserk green glow of the legendary Super Saiyan, and let the four-colored radiance of his fusion form fade. He searched inward for the core of his strength, the essence of Axis himself, forged through battles, fusions, and divine baptisms. It was harder than he expected. Used to releasing power through defined forms, when he suppressed them, the energy inside felt sealed, sluggish. His aura grew chaotic. Gold, divine red, green ferocity, and fusion's multi-hues rolled and clashed like spilled paint, erupting at times, subsiding at others. The fluctuations made the solid ground of the god of destruction's planet tremble. Whis hovered nearby, his staff tapping the ground. An invisible barrier kept the energy contained, preventing spills that might disturb the sleeping Lord Beerus. He watched with a trace of amusement and anticipation, resisting the urge to interfere. Axis's aptitude was impressive. Reaching a godly realm through his own insight wouldn't be easy, but it was possible. If Axis succeeded, Whis might have to consider encouraging him to return to his universe as a candidate god of destruction. Axis frowned, sweat beaded on his brow. Inside, his powers writhed like a host of wild dragons, each acting on its own. He stopped trying to command them into specific transforms and instead sought to understand them. Feeling the pure amplification of Super Saiyan, the rule-bound depth of god power, the limitless potential and rage of the legendary form, and the qualitative leap of fusion, He stopped separating them and searched for their common origin, the primitive chi and will that belonged to his life essence. Time flowed. The chaotic light around him calmed, no longer colliding violently but cooling like boiling water left to settle. The golden, red, green, and multicolored auras began to fold inward. Though powerful, his presence no longer pressed down with the signature hallmarks of his transformations. Instead, it became plain and unadorned, simple, solid. At last, Axis opened his eyes. His hair and eyes remained black, with no conspicuous transformation aura, yet a dense, almost tangible power radiated from him. Clenching his fist, he felt a surging torrent of strength inside. This power no longer needed a special key to unlock. He didn't have to change to access it. It was simply there, his baseline. Those flashy battle effects were no longer necessary. A single punch could now unleash his full might. Transformations would still exist, but they'd be cosmetic now, not the source of surges. The powers had become integrated into him. With this fusion complete, Axis's strength climbed to a new plateau, another step on the path toward godhood. From head to toe, he exuded a godly radiance. Except for an inability to wield God of Destruction energy, Whis judged him almost on par with Lord Beerus. If Axis learned God of Destruction Key, he would be fit to serve as a full-fledged God of Destruction, not merely a candidate. "Oh, very good," Whis said, a glint of approval in his eyes. "To stabilize and even retract most of those outward manifestations on your first attempt. That's better than I expected. Your foundation runs deeper than I imagined. Remember this feeling, Axis. Power is not an external decoration, but an internal extension. You're moving toward the true form of a god." Axis smiled, feeling the calm, vast power within him. "Thank you for your guidance, Teacher Whis. This feeling is strange. My power feels more obedient and purer." "Exactly," Whis nodded. "Now you must constantly consolidate this feeling. Any transformations will be icing on the cake, not prerequisites. Your ceiling will be higher, and you'll be able to exert your inherent strength even in your normal state." Axis nodded solemnly, sinking Whiss's lessons into his heart. He'd already realized that the spectacular forms, Super Saiyan and godly transformations, had been, in a sense, crutches. He'd made them part of himself now. "Now, back to the main point," Whis continued. "Since you have integrated your power and established a stable, godlike foundation, it's time to access a higher tier of divine energy, deeper God of Destruction energy. I'll teach you how to use it. I'm very curious to see how quickly you can learn." A deep purple light, as if it devoured other light, appeared at Whiss's fingertip. It was pure world-ending destruction, the hallmark of a God of Destruction's energy. "Teacher Whis, I thought God of Destruction energy belonged only to the gods of destruction. I didn't expect you to be able to use it," Axis said. "Oh ho ho, I was Lord Beerus's teacher. All angels are teachers to the gods of destruction. We use God of Destruction energy, otherwise how would I teach Beerus?" Whis replied. Axis nodded. As an angel, Whis naturally handled that energy. Gods of destruction were trained by angels after all. God of Destruction energy is pure annihilation. It can disintegrate anything, even chi. Both material and immaterial things can be unraveled by it. Feel it. I'll teach you how to comprehend it. Whis began formal instruction. The purple speck floated toward Axis like a living thing. When it touched him, Axis felt no pain. Under Whiss's control, the destructive energy entered Axis slowly. In Axis's inner world, as he probed the true meaning of destruction, Whis smiled in satisfaction. He hadn't misjudged the young fighter. Axis's capacity for understanding and his foundational roots were exceptionally solid, possibly the strongest God of Destruction candidate Whis had trained. Lord Beerus, in comparison, had been far less promising initially. Beerus had needed centuries to reach where Axis stood now. Time slipped by. A month passed in the blink of an eye. For that entire month, Axis remained in the training chamber, immersing himself in God of Destruction energy. He felt its annihilative nature, how it could unmake everything and cling to the surface of the body to nullify incoming attacks. Under Whiss's watchful gaze, Axis finally opened his eyes. A faint purple shimmer lay in them. "Teacher Whis," Axis said, raising his palm. A small mote of purple energy formed in his hand, true God of Destruction power, however modest. "Your aptitude is much better than Lord Beerus's. It took him several hundred years to reach your current level," Whis admitted without reservation. Thank you for the compliment, Teacher Whis. Thank you for letting me touch this power, Axis said, bowing to the angel. He'd once considered trying to absorb God of Destruction energy by force, but now he saw how dangerous that gamble would have been. Without proper preparation, his body would have been destroyed on contact. Only by mastering it under Wiss's tutelage had he seen how potent the energy truly was. You woke up at just the right time, Wiss said. If you hadn't, you might have missed a spectacle. Just yesterday, Champa, the god of destruction from Universe 6, came to our universe. Oh, the god of destruction from Universe 6? Axis replied without much expression. The long-awaited moment had finally come. Super Dragon Balls. Chapter 4:12. There aren't many colors left for Saiyans to use in transformations. Is something wrong? Axis asked. There's a small problem, Whis replied. Yesterday, Lord Champa visited Lord Beerus and produced what he claimed was a delicacy, an egg from some exotic bird. He let us try it. Honestly, it tasted worse than the simplest instant noodles on Earth. It was basically just a boiled egg. Whis sounded amused. Champa had always had bad luck with food. His sister Vados often fed him rubbish, so his standards were oddly low. Champa's palate was warped by neglect, and though he complained, there wasn't much he could do. His aptitude and power were among the weakest of the gods of destruction. Vados pushed him to train, worried Universe 6 might produce someone to replace him. Universe 6 and Universe 7 are twin universes, Whis continued. Their gods of destruction are like twin brothers who constantly compete. Beerus and Champa don't get along at all. They're always trying to outdo each other. That sounds exciting. I'd love to see the gods of destruction fight, Axis said with a smile. That might be difficult. Beerus is one of the strongest among the gods of destruction. Champa ranks near the bottom. You might be able to contest Beerus for a short time now, but you'd lose in the end. Champa, however, you'd have a real chance against him. If you train more, you may eventually challenge Beerus too, but only if you master Ultra Instinct, Whis said. In that case, I could spar with Champa, Axis said dryly. Maybe one day. Whis brightened. Let me tell you what happened next. Beerus had me bring out several barrels of instant noodles from Earth. Champa loved them and got obsessed with Earth's food. Since Universe 6 mirrors Universe 7, Champa went looking for Earth in his universe. But Universe 6's Earth had already been destroyed. Upset, Champa decided to settle things with a bet. As expected of gods of destruction, always willful. But Beerus wouldn't agree to give away his Earth for something silly. Right? Axis asked. Of course not. Champa upped the stake. Both universes had been collecting the Super Dragon Balls, the Wish Orbs. Champa and Vados had gathered 6 of them. 1 remained. They wagered those as the prize. Each universe would send 5 fighters to battle. If Universe 7 lost, we'd hand over our Earth to Universe 6. If Universe 6 lost, they would give their 6 collected Wish Orbs to Beerus. If I join, our universe will win for sure, Axis said. In the original timeline, Universe 6 actually won, because Universe 7's supposed final ace, Monaka, was just a weak delivery man used by Beerus to motivate Goku and Vegeta. Universe 6 fielded the deadly assassin hit and also had Saiyans. Now, with Axis and Kratos joining, Universe 6's chances would evaporate. That's why I wanted to speak with you, Axis, Whis said. Lord Beerus wants you and your son Kratos to join the tournament to guarantee our victory. Will you participate? Axis wasn't an Earthling. He had no obligation. But if he and Kratos entered, victory was nearly certain. Goku and Vegeta were already qualified as potential gods of destruction candidates. Just Axis alone, as the final combatant, could overwhelm Universe 6's fighters. Whis estimated Champa's power was below Axis's, and Saiyans always had an edge when the power levels were close. Saiyans love fighting stronger opponents. I'll join, but I have one condition. I want the right to use those 6 Wish Orbs, Axis said plainly. He wanted the Wish Orbs, the chance to use the Super Dragon Balls. This tournament could be an opportunity to reclaim something important to him, and the final orb would be the tournament's venue, a Wish Orb vast as a planet. Axis, you want the stakes in the bet between Beerus and Champa? Whis laughed. I can't decide that, but come on, I'll take you to see Beerus. They went to Beerus's residence. Beerus was eating. Goku, Vegeta, and Kratos were beside him. Vegeta, should we bring Piccolo or Majin Buu? Goku counted on his fingers. Each side sent 5 fighters. He and Vegeta would fight. Kratos and Axis would take 2 spots, and 1 slot remained. Gohan would have been ideal, but he'd neglected training and didn't want this, so Goku suggested Piccolo or Majin Buu. Bring Piccolo. Majin Buu's too unpredictable. If Axis doesn't fight, then we'll bring Buu, Vegeta said after a moment. Whis returned with Axis. Goku brightened and waved. Beerus's expression changed when he saw Axis, not the old, partly mortal Axis he remembered, but a fully godlike being. The cumbersome Saiyan transformations were gone. Axis had integrated his power. Beerus sensed within Axis an unmistakable signature, destruction energy. Not bad, Beerus exclaimed. Axis, you haven't disappointed me. You've mastered destruction energy. Your power is on par with an average god of destruction. With more refinement, you could be a full god of destruction, more qualified than that Champa. Hey, Whis, make arrangements with the higher-ups. Why not recommend him for Universe 6? Whis chuckled helplessly. Lord Beerus, I only handle the candidate for Universe 7, and anyhow, it's up to Axis whether he even wants that role. Beerus quipped on a whim. Axis's mind raced. What did it mean to replace a god of destruction? Would the old one be killed or simply relieved? He remembered All King's remark after the tournament between Universe 6 and 7, if the work isn't done well, replace the god of destruction. People had speculated replacement meant execution, but later arcs showed substitute gods could be appointed by higher authorities, and if a god died, his universe's supreme Kai would also die. Axis thought outright erasure by All King was unlikely. More plausibly, a replaced god might be stripped of the position and returned to mortal life, though whether they would age like mortals then remained uncertain. Beerus was smug. Axis, congratulations on awakening. Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Majin Buu, choose one of you as the 5th fighter. With Axis anchoring our team, victory is certain. I can't wait to watch Champa despair. Whis spoke up. Lord Beerus, Axis will fight, but he has one condition. Oh, what is it, tell me? Beerus scratched his ear. If this were anyone else, Beerus wouldn't entertain bargaining, but Axis was different now. He'd stepped into the god's realm and comprehended destruction energy. Lord Beerus, I'll fight for you. Kratos will join as well. After we win, I want the wish orbs that we gain to be handed to me for a wish, Axis said. Beerus blinked. You want the wish orbs? He'd expected Axis to demand a duel. Saiyans loved that, but asking for the wish orbs was odd. To gods of destruction, they were less tempting. The only powers that could constrain a god were the angels, the Grand Priest, and All King. Super Shenron, the super dragon, couldn't affect those above it. Besides, Beerus was lazy about chasing the remaining orb. Winning and humiliating Champa was enough entertainment. All right, Beerus said, stroking his chin. I don't care for them much. It's settled. You and Kratos will fight for us and secure the victory. But remember, the wish orbs belong to our universe. If you leave this universe, you cannot take them with you. They'll stay in the universe, Axis replied. Good, prepare yourselves. In 3 days, we leave for the Null Realm. Teach Champa a lesson, Beerus said with a yawn and drifted off. Goku grinned. Great, with you in the roster, it'll be fun. I'd love to fight you. You can anytime, Axis said. By the way, how's your fusion of Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan Blue going? If Goku and Vegeta can merge those powers, Gogeta could be a match. We've barely gotten to grips with Super Saiyan 4. It's only been a month. We're still integrating it, Goku answered. Time isn't a problem. Axis turned to Kratos. Have you mastered the Super Saiyan God form? Yes, Father. I've mastered divine power. I can shift into Super Saiyan God, Kratos said. Red divine aura wrapped his body. His form slimmed, his eyes shone with spiritual light, and his hair turned red. Then he moved from Super Saiyan God into Super Saiyan Blue as the red glow folded into blue. Excellent. Training on Beerus's planet was the right choice, Axis said. What you need now, like Goku and Vegeta, is to integrate Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan God into a single stable power. Goku looked thoughtful. Axis, you seem changed. Has your training entered a new stage? What does the next stage involve? Axis laughed. Listen carefully. Once you've fused your powers, work to make the transformations intrinsic to you. Don't treat Saiyan forms as costume changes. We don't have many hair colors left to keep changing. Improve your base form until all your power is part of you, not just a temporary color. Learn to integrate. That's the next stage. Goku and Vegeta exchanged looks and nodded. I understand, Goku said. Good. Axis's voice was calm, confident. He had a plan, a place in the coming battle, and the tournament looming ahead. The Saiyan's colors might be running out, but their strength, if truly integrated, would be endless. Chapter 413, The Omniscient One in the Universe Who Taught Vegeta to Found the God Clan. Kakarot nodded thoughtfully. Integrating all powers and returning to a normal state. That sounds really difficult. Vegeta, Kratos, we need to step up our training. Axis, though of the same generation as them, had clearly already surpassed them by a wide margin. Even his son was now on their level. Kakarot knew he had to push himself harder and not fall behind. Vegeta snorted and crossed his arms. Kakarot, now is not the time for that. The priority is the tournament in 3 days. Whis, are there any notable fighters from Universe 6 we should be aware of? That's an important question, Prince Vegeta, Whis replied with a smile. You'll know Universe 6's lineup once you arrive. It's all secret for now. They don't know our situation either. We can't spoil the match. He gave a light chuckle. Anyway, there's no need to be afraid. Axis will be our final entrant. Kakarot, Vegeta, and Kratos, you three can just enjoy yourselves. We'll win this battle. Ha! Lord Beerus said, reclining in his chair with his legs crossed, a triumphant grin on his face. Having allies whose strength neared a god of destruction was intoxicating. Don't worry, Lord Beerus. There won't be any mishaps. We won't even need Father to participate. Kakarot, Vegeta, and I can handle the enemies, Kratos said confidently. A month of training with Kakarot and Vegeta had greatly improved him. Learning from a god-level mentor had clear benefits. Father was right. Thinking and training alone was slow. All right, take a break. We'll depart soon, Lord Beerus yawned, then resumed enjoying his meal and drifting off. That lazy cat wasn't much better than his brother. Both were gluttons, and neither seemed to gain an ounce. Kakarot, Axis, Kratos, do you want to return to Terra with me for a bit? I'm going to tell Bulma first and have her start making the dragon radar, Vegeta said. Cough, let's go back too. I haven't seen Gohan and Chi-Chi in a month, Kakarot replied. Father, I won't go. I want to stay and rest. Are you going back to Terra? Kratos asked. Terra was very different from Holy Terra, much larger and situated differently. Apart from the name, it was effectively another planet. I need to return to Terra briefly. I have something to take care of. There are still a few days left, Kratos, so you can stay on the God of Destruction's planet and train with Whis and Lord Beerus, Axis said. Axis's visit to Terra was for a specific reason. He remembered that before the martial arts tournament between the universes, Bulma had been planning to make a dragon radar to detect the Super Dragon Balls. He needed detailed information about the Super Dragon Balls, and for that he wanted to consult Zuno, the being who supposedly knew almost everything in the universe, past and future. I understand. When the tournament starts, I'll go to Terra to pick you up. I'll send you back now. Whis nodded, waved his staff, and sent Axis, Vegeta, and Kakarot back to Terra. On Terra, Kakarot and Vegeta visited their families separately and told everyone about the tournament. What the heck? They're using our universe as a wager? That's absurd. Bulma fumed. Exactly. Why didn't they consult us? Krillin added, incredulous. The other fighters showed similar unease. Kakarot, however, laughed and waved his hand, trying to reassure everyone. To him it meant facing strong opponents, an opportunity. But everyone else understood how severe this was. It wasn't a simple relocation. In the gods' eyes, the lives of mortals seemed disposable, perhaps even to be erased without consequence. Axis smiled at this. Although the gods in the Dragon Ball world seemed friendly, in reality, mortals' lives meant little to them. The difference in levels was too vast. Would a god care about an ant? By that logic, gods wouldn't care about mortals. The gods here were relatively benign compared to truly cruel deities from darker universes, but the hierarchy still left mortals vulnerable. Axis, is there something you need to do on Terra? Do you need our help? Vegeta asked. Unlike the carefree Kakarot, Vegeta's thoughts were precise. He wanted to know why Axis had come to Terra instead of staying on the God of Destruction's planet to cultivate godly energy with Whis and Beerus. You guessed correctly. I have some questions to ask, and in this universe, your Bulma and that galactic patrolman Jocko are about to meet someone who knows nearly all the knowledge in the universe, Axis said plainly. Bulma had indeed mentioned that to make a dragon radar, she needed to understand the wishing orbs, and Jocko had brought up Lord Zuno, who supposedly knew everything. Vegeta looked at Axis, surprised that he had anticipated the events. He'd just asked, and Axis had already foreseen it, before they even returned to Terra. "You're something else, Axis. You can actually foresee these things," Vegeta said. "Ha! Vegeta, be good to your wife. Bulma is one of the greatest scientific minds in the universe. Why not wish with the Dragon Balls for her to be immortal? I remember you wanted something like that before. Now that you're on the path of a god, it's not impossible. You and Kakarot will have extremely long lives after becoming gods. Kakarot doesn't care about family, but you do. Consider it. Wish for Bulma to become a god or grant her immortality," Axis suggested. "What about Trunks, his descendants' descendants? Do I have to collect the Dragon Balls over and over and make everyone immortal?" Vegeta asked, torn. He wanted Bulma by his side forever, but that was selfish. Bulma had parents, an older sister, and their son Trunks. Trunks would grow up, marry, and have children. Could he make the whole family immortal? What about their friends? Ha! That's easy. Why not establish a family of gods? Axis smiled. How many people can a family have? Why exclude your wife? I want my son and his descendants to be immortal gods. Establishing a divine clan, that's the solution. It's not that difficult. Axis's answer surprised Vegeta, then made him smile. It was a Saiyan's instinct, ambition and pride. Axis was right. Why worry so much? After the match with Universe 6, Vegeta decided he'd collect the Dragon Balls and restore Bulma's youth. If he didn't ascend to godhood and risk upsetting the cosmic balance, eternal youth shouldn't be impossible. As for Trunks, that would be for Trunks to decide when he was older. Axis gave Vegeta a thumbs up. Only Goku didn't worry about his family. Otherwise, who wouldn't want them to be immortal? "Do you want to come with me? If your wife goes alone, she might be taken advantage of. As her husband, you should support her. You can also ask if there are other ways besides the Dragon Balls to grant immortality," Axis urged. Axis remembered the original story. Zuno would answer one question to a man, while women sometimes had to kiss him to get answers, and the number of questions varied with his preferences. In one movie, the young female villain got to ask 10 questions after kissing him, while an older Bulma could only ask 3. Axis planned to go find Zuno himself so Bulma wouldn't have to kiss anyone in front of Vegeta. Vegeta would make sure of that, or if he couldn't, Axis wouldn't mind showing off some godly power. Fine. I'll come too. I won't let Bulma go alone," Vegeta grumbled. "Since I'm making the Dragon Radar, I need information about the wishing orbs. Jocko, take me to this Lord Zuno," Bulma said. "I will. I'll take you there now, but be warned, he's difficult to deal with. Be prepared." Jocko replied, "Take me with you. If that guy won't tell us, I'll kill him myself," Vegeta snorted and flew to Bulma and Jocko. "Don't be impulsive, Vegeta. We're asking for help, not starting a fight. A little money might go a long way," Bulma said. She was actually glad Vegeta could come. She felt safer with him there. Bulma, don't be naive. On Earth, your money solves many problems, but in the wider universe, a single energy blast from me solves even more. Earth's currency isn't widely accepted out there, Vegeta said, arms crossed, displeased. As the former prince of the Saiyans and a former officer under Frieza, he'd traveled the galaxy and understood interstellar realities. Kaba smiled silently. Having a Saiyan along would make things easier. The Saiyans' ferocious reputation still echoed through the universe. Though their race had been almost wiped out, rumors kept them from being forgotten. Tsk, I didn't say I'd use Earth's money, Vegeta. My older sister has been traveling the universe and occasionally sends me remittances. We have currency accepted across the stars. It's all from her, Bulma said, annoyed. She had a sister who'd been drifting through the cosmos for years. I'll go too. I have some questions for that Zuno, Axis added. Then let's not waste time. Lead the way. Jaco, take us to Zuno. Let's get our questions answered quickly so Bulma can finish the Dragon Radar. I still need to prepare for the competition, Vegeta said. After the tournament, he intended to gather the Dragon Balls himself. Oh, come on, follow me. My ship can't fit that many people. If you have room, take your own, Jaco said. Bulma nodded, and she took Axis and Vegeta aboard her family's spaceship. They followed Jaco's small saucer toward Zuno's planet. Axis looked around inside Bulma's ship. It could accelerate to hundreds of times the speed of light and had space jump capabilities. Traveling faster than light in real space was technically complex. Jumps were the usual method. After a few tens of minutes, they arrived at a pink planet. The planet was populated by strange, plump, pink-skinned humanoids. Many visitors were gathered there too. Most had come to ask questions, others perhaps to admire Zuno. After disembarking, they followed Jocko to the reception staff and stated their purpose. Lord Zuno will meet everyone who wants to ask questions, but you must make an appointment. If you book now, you can ask your question in about 7 years, the receptionist said. What? We don't have that kind of time. Is there any way to see him now? We'll pay extra. Can we get in earlier? Bulma asked. Sorry, Lord Zuno's rules can't be changed. Everyone must make an appointment. If I let you in early, how would I explain that to the others? The receptionist said flatly. Just then, a 3-meter-tall, toad-like behemoth barged forward. I've waited 7 years for this. Take me to Zuno. I need an answer now, the frogman bellowed. You made an appointment 7 years ago. Your time is now. Please follow me, the receptionist replied. Wait a minute, that frog. Give us your spot, Vegeta said, flashing in front and snorting coldly. The frogman spluttered. Who are you two? I am Prince Vegeta of the Saiyans. If you're smart, you'll step aside, Vegeta declared. Saiyan! I'm sorry! I'll go now. The frogman turned and fled at once. The other visitors scattered at the mention of Vegeta's name, and the plaza fell silent. Bulma laughed awkwardly on the side, secretly pleased. Well done, Vegeta. This should do it, right? Vegeta asked. Please follow me. The receptionist sighed and led them into the palace to see Zuno. You are those who came to ask questions? Offer your tribute first. Men get 1 question. For women, it depends, Zuno intoned. What do you mean by tribute? Money? Bulma asked. Just kiss him, Jocko said, without hesitation, and rather practiced, he leaned over and kissed Zuno. Even Zuno, who supposedly knew everything, couldn't help shivering at the scene. He felt a wave of queasiness. Seriously, why would this pervert demand sacrifices just for a kiss? A woman's kiss could answer a few questions and confirm that someone's physiology or orientation was normal, but a man's kiss. Axis felt disgusted even thinking about it. Ugh, you're disgusting, Vegeta snarled, his face screwed up as if he were constipated. If he hadn't come along, Bulma might have kissed him too. No way would that happen. Not him, not Bulma, and Axis probably wouldn't either. They needed another way to get answers. Don't be like that. Lord Zuno only wants a kiss. It's not some sacred thing, just a sign of respect, a custom. Believe me, Lord Zuno is insanely powerful. He's almost omniscient and omnipotent. For example, Lord Zuno, my question, what is Earthling Bulma's bust size? Jaco asked. Zuno answered flatly, her bust circumference is 67.7 inches now. Because of her age, it has sagged. It used to be 87.5 inches. Vegeta went crimson. Bulma flushed as well. You idiot. Why ask such a pointless question? Ask about the Super Dragon Balls. Vegeta bellowed. He couldn't believe the people around him. Zuno sniffed. Now it's your turn. For men, 1 kiss answers 1 question. That woman's a bit old and her bust has sagged, so 1 kiss from her answers 3 questions. She's not my type either. He touched his face matter-of-factly. Axis burst out laughing. Compared to the grim, cold Warhammer universe, the Dragon Ball world had much more joy. Even the greatest fighters could be downright ridiculous sometimes. I will not let my wife kiss you, Vegeta growled. Give up, answer my question now, or I'll blow this place up. Golden light flared as he shifted into Super Saiyan, pointing threateningly at Zuno. Zuno's expression remained neutral. This being's power exceeded that of ordinary gods, perhaps even the World King God. Should he make an exception? Normally he answered beings of godhood for free, but Vegeta had only attained a demigod-level grasp of God of Chi. Still, 1 question would be fine. Before Zuno could respond, Axis stepped forward. If you won't answer, I know a little about using God of Destruction energy. Want a demonstration? He said, patting Vegeta's shoulder. He put his palm out and condensed a purple orb of destructive energy, the unmistakable signature of a god of destruction. The orb radiated terrible destructive force. Cold sweat broke out on Zuno's brow. Who was this man? As an omniscient being, Zuno found Axis's records blank after age 6. Axis had only appeared in this universe a little over a month ago. Zuno's sight covered everything that had happened across the 12 universes and even beyond. How had Axis been absent? Observing Axis's actions, Zuno suspected the man had traveled across worlds not created by the All-Kings or Zalama. No wonder there was no record. And now Axis had grasped destruction energy. Was he a god of destruction candidate sent by Whis? If so, an exception was warranted. He bowed his head slightly. "Respected god of destruction candidate," Zuno said, voice changing. "Ask whatever you like. I can answer any number of questions." Even Vegeta, still hot with anger, and Bulma were stunned. Jocko gaped. That power signature had meant Axis might truly be a destruction candidate, a major figure. "That's better. I like your attitude," Axis said. "First question, I want all information on the Super Dragon Balls created by Dragon God Zalama." "No problem, Lord Axis, God of Destruction candidate," Zuno replied without holding back. He recited the Dragon Balls' history, their creation by Zalama in the 251st year of the Divine Calendar, their perfectly spherical form, their presence in Universe 7 and Universe 6, revealing everything he knew in exhaustive detail. "The God of Destruction has already collected 6 of the wish-granting orbs. Where is the last one?" Bulma asked eagerly. If this was true, she wouldn't have had to make a dragon radar. "The last Dragon Ball is in the void, the remnant of a destroyed universe," Zuno answered. Vegeta shot Axis a look. That was the battleground Beerus had once mentioned. "What other ways are there for mortals to achieve eternal life, or to become a god?" Vegeta asked next. "I want my wife to return to her 20-year-old self and be immortal." Bulma stared at him, stunned and embarrassed. Nearing 50, she had been self-conscious about aging. Vegeta wanted her to be young forever. She felt a flush of warmth despite herself. Zuno explained, "There are many methods, but there is no true eternity. If the All-King objects to you, he can erase you. Still, options include the World King God's Fruit of God, being bestowed divine energy by a World King God, receiving the blessing of an angel, or using a wish from the Dragon God. Any of those can grant eternal youth and immortality. To become a god, you need the World King God's permission, and you'd only become a god over a single planet. You'd have to supervise and be responsible for that world." He continued, clarifying the World King hierarchy: ordinary World Kings, Great World Kings, and the World King God born of the World King God tree, and that mortals realistically could aspire to a god of destruction or a planetary god. Vegeta nodded. The burden of godhood seemed too large, so eternal youth was the simpler target. When everyone had finished their questions, it was Axis's turn. "I want to obtain God of Chi and learn how to summon the Fruit of God and make wishes," he said. "No problem. Come closer," Zuno said. He tapped Axis's forehead, and a stream of obscure divine script and information flowed into Axis's mind. It was the knowledge of God of Chi. From that information, Axis learned a few crucial truths. To use the Fruit of God requires God of Chi. Mortals are unworthy. Super Shenron, when summoned, will not look to mortals but will accept the wishes of gods. The first time Super Shenron was summoned, Whis and Shenron cooperated. Later, the apprentice World King God Zamasu used him to gain immortality and swapped bodies with Kakarot. At the Tournament of Power, Android 17's wish was conveyed by the Grand Priest. Only those who had godly status or a god speaking for them would be heard. "I have another question. Do you know anything about the third eye of the demon realm?" Axis asked. "I know of it, but it's not in any of our 12 universes. It exists in another universe. The demon realm's king there keeps the third eye. Using it grants tremendous combat power to an ordinary person, but it exacts a price. If you want one, you must visit a general store in that world's demon realm. There are still 2 eyes unsold," Zuno replied. Axis nodded. That matched a plot he knew from a Dragon Ball movie. Zuno's knowledge was impressively specific. "I can travel between parallel universes. Tell me how to get to the one with the third eye." Zuno gave him precise coordinates and engraved them into his mind so Axis could travel there readily. "Anything else, Lord Axis, God of Destruction candidate?" Zuno asked. "One last thing. Teach me the training method for Ultra Instinct," Axis said. "You're already on the path," Zuno said. "When your body can fight entirely on its own without requiring your conscious control, you will have achieved perfect Ultra Instinct." Axis understood. Whis' teaching had been right. That guidance had made Goku's attainment possible. The training was essential. Axis casually found a bottle and poured a trace of God of Destruction energy into it. "Consider this payment," he said, handing it to Zuno. "If you ever run into troublemakers, guide this energy to attack them. It won't harm you." Axis had modeled the control method on a ninth universe God of Destruction who had once sealed his energy in a mortal and used him to assassinate Frieza. That energy could backfire if misused, so Axis packaged it carefully. Zuno accepted the gift graciously. "Thank you for your offering," Zuno said, taking the bottle. By accepting it, he treated it as an offering and didn't violate his rules. He seemed to have a good temper, better than Lord Beerus. Axis secretly hoped Zuno might later replace Beerus as Universe 7's destruction god. With all their questions answered, Vegeta, Axis, Bulma, and the others didn't return by spaceship. They used instant transmission from Axis's side to go back to Earth. Jacko, as a galactic patrolman, took the chance to return by ship to report to headquarters. Time flew. 3 days later, after some rest, Axis, Vegeta, and Son Goku arrived at the open field where the contest would be held. The last participant had been chosen, Piccolo. Majin Buu's power and strange abilities were formidable, but they needed a strategist, and Piccolo's intelligence at critical moments was invaluable. After Lord Beerus arrived, Kratos stepped out of a flying vehicle as well. "Father!" someone called, as families and supporters gathered. The Z-Fighters had brought their families to watch the contest between the two gods of destruction. The Old World King God and the World King God of Universe 7, with their attendants, had come too. "Good. Your strength has improved in these 3 days. You'll meet formidable opponents. Let loose," Axis said. Hit, the assassin from Universe 6, remained a potent adversary who had previously given Goku trouble. "Everyone seems to be here. No more delays. Let's go," Lord Beerus declared, itching to get started. "I can't wait to teach that fat guy a lesson." They all stepped into the rectangular arena. After a period of travel, they arrived on a desolate planet within the void. Vados had prepared the battlefield in advance, flattening a ring the size of a football field and setting up spectator seats. The two purple big cats, Beerus and his counterpart, traded jabs and mockery before the contest began. "All right, first match," Angel Vados announced. "I'm going to give you a very simple test first. I must check whether your intelligence is normal." She produced a thick stack of papers. Axis blinked inwardly. Really, after all this, he still had to take a written test? Chapter 4:15, Universe 6 versus Universe 7, the God of Destruction's invitation to battle. Do we really have to answer questions like these? What's the point? Goku complained. "Didn't I say? It's just to check your IQs. I can't let people with mental problems fight. What if you injure the spectators or damage the void? This is a tournament hosted by Lord Beerus. I have responsibilities," Vados replied, smiling wickedly. The smile made Axis uneasy. Even as an angel, Vados' grin looked devilish. In the original universe, she'd always been mischievous. She liked to tease her fat cat, but Whis was a little stronger. Whis was fond of food and leisure, not scheming, at least not in the same way. "Sister, as long as you're entertained, let's get started. The questions aren't hard. If your IQ is normal, you should be fine," Whis chimed in. As siblings, he understood Vados' taste for teasing. "You only need to get 50% right. Don't tell me you can't," Vados said. Axis snorted, picked up a pen, and, everyone stared, finished the entire answer sheet in less than 10 seconds. Kratos matched him. No one was surprised by Kratos. As a Primarch raised and educated in Imperial programs, he'd been schooled in a vast virtual library for decades. His culture and science knowledge rivaled the Custodes. Axis's background explained his speed. During his youth, while undergoing the Emperor's modifications, he and Micardo had studied together for over 30 years in a mental virtual space: languages, cultures, cosmic science, arts. The Golden Sentinels weren't just warriors, they were scholars, artists, scientists. These questions were child's play to Axis and Kratos, father and son. "Oh my, 100%. I underestimated Universe 7, Vados said, taking their papers and inspecting them. "I didn't expect cultured people in this universe. Given the brawny, single-minded nature of martial artists, it'd normally take hours. To finish in seconds, that's exceptional." "All right, if Axis and Kratos can do it, so can the rest of you. Vegeta, go," Goku enthused. Vegeta and Piccolo shrugged and took the test. Universe 6's contestants started answering as well. Axis and Kratos finished, sat back and waited. Vados drifted over and studied Axis with curiosity. I never expected Universe 7 to produce someone like you. Whis, have you already chosen a God of Destruction candidate? Is Lord Beerus planning to retire? Her tone was half teasing, half serious. Whis smiled. So Sister noticed. Yes, Axis is the God of Destruction candidate I've been training. Besides Axis, Whis had quietly been developing candidates among Goku and Vegeta as well. Kratos was excluded. He wasn't a native life form of Universe 7. You kept this from me? Vados feigned hurt. Sister is saddened. Crying won't help. Lean on my shoulder if it makes you feel better. Whis teased back, and the angels bantered. Nearby, Champa, the god of destruction of Universe 6, went still. He lashed out at once, arriving in a blur and inspecting Axis from head to toe. He could sense God of Destruction energy. Beerus, you cheat. This guy can't be allowed to compete. He must be disqualified. I want him eliminated. Champa roared. He knew how overpowering a God of Destruction candidate could be. God of Destruction energy could end lives in an instant. If Axis fought, it would be a blowout. Is there any rule barring a candidate? Beerus asked coldly, though he looked smug. Besides, I didn't even say Axis is my candidate. Whis simply taught him how to use God of Destruction energy. I protest, Champa bellowed, enraged. This is cheating. I'll complain to Vados. Vados replied with a smirk. If you're so sure, send your own God of Destruction candidate to face him. That settles it. I don't object to Universe 6 putting forward a candidate, or do you not even have one? Shut up, Beerus. Don't be arrogant. If you're so proud, fight me one-on-one, Champa snapped. He had become God of Destruction later than Beerus and had no intention of retiring. He liked the perks that came with the position and had little desire to expedite the process of developing a successor, especially since he didn't fully trust his angel. Oh my, Vados said, hands clasped. This is unfair. Having God of Destruction energy is too much of an advantage. Maybe we should disqualify your Universe 7 contestant, Axis. We didn't say such a rule before the competition started, Whis replied serenely. Axis knows the energy, but he's not formally a God of Destruction yet, and we haven't forbidden Universe 6 from sending a candidate. That's not fair. If he competes, it's the same as surrendering, Champa grumbled. Are you going to surrender? Beerus taunted. If you want, I'll accept. Leave the 6 wish orbs and you can walk. Fine. If you send a candidate, I will too. I'll personally handle Axis, Champa growled. He'd seen the power a candidate represented. Among his roster, he had no one who could match it. You're a God of Destruction. Is there no dignity left? If you enter, surely I can too? Beerus said, goading him. Champa's pride wouldn't tolerate the stonewalling, so he flew into action. Then send anybody from your side, Beerus said, glancing at the stands. Many of the Z-Fighters had come. Krillin, Yamcha, Android 18, Gohan, Chi-Chi, Goten, Trunks. The crowd murmured as they considered who to send. Yamcha and Krillin were Earth's strongest humans, but might struggle against non-humans. Gohan had been humbled after the Frieza incident and had spent the last month training. He volunteered, even stripping off his jacket to show a turtle school guy, determined not to be a mere scholar while neglecting his martial training. I'll go, Android 18 sighed, handing her daughter to her husband. She was the one who could reliably step in. Hold on, Aunt 18. Let me. Gohan stood, eager. I've been training. I can at least take one opponent out. That's great, Gohan. Come on out. Goku gave a proud thumbs up. Gohan nodded and climbed into the ring, completing both sides' rosters. There will be 6-on-6, Beerus announced. If you lose Champa, you lose face as a God of Destruction. Soon the first matches began. As in the original tournament, Goku and Vegeta fought early, but things went differently now. Goku, in base form, easily defeated the large yellow cat opponent in only a few exchanges. He didn't even need to transform. Years of near-death resurrections and training under Axis had dramatically raised the baseline power of both Goku and Vegeta. Frost, who resembled Frieza in appearance, stepped up next. Even in his advanced form, he was no match for Goku's strength. But Frost was dirty. A hidden poisoned needle ended up knocking Goku down with a sneak attack. The crowd realized Frost wasn't the noble type. He'd been deceitful all along. Piccolo, too, let his guard down and was taken out by underhanded tactics. Universe 6 claimed 2 quick, morally tainted victories. Their opponents' eliminations stirred disgust in the stands. Piccolo's injuries, however, were severe. He couldn't continue in the later rounds. Champa, fuming at the turn of events, sent out a bulky robot. Vegeta stepped in and dismantled it cleanly. Another Universe 6 fighter, a Saiyan different from those of Universe 7, tried his luck against Vegeta. Vegeta defeated him easily, even teaching him how to trigger the Super Saiyan transformation before tossing him aside. "That's only Super Saiyan 1. Don't embarrass me," he scoffed as he finished. By then, Universe 6 was in despair. Several of their top picks had been eliminated. Universe 7 had only Piccolo sidelined. Then Hit entered the arena. The legendary assassin showed why he was feared. He struck with precision and overwhelming force, taking down Vegeta and Goku in succession, though the effort left Hit badly wounded. Kratos then strode into the ring. He tossed a second-generation Spirit Tree fruit toward Hit. "You've used a lot of energy fighting them. Take this. I can't wait any longer." Hit caught the fruit in surprise. "You're actually letting me recover?" "Of course. I want a long-awaited battle," Kratos said, smiling, settling into position. Hit nodded and took the fruit that hummed with strange energy. He didn't hesitate. One quick swallow, and the revitalizing life force poured through his limbs and bones. His drained stamina returned with astonishing speed, even edging past his previous peak. The purple aura around him solidified, growing denser and more potent. The fruit's effect far exceeded his expectations. "What a miracle," Hit said to Kratos, surprised. "It didn't just restore my stamina and heal most of my injuries. It pushed my energy back to its peak and even slightly increased my physical strength. I can feel it." If Kratos had given that fruit to a teammate instead of an opponent, the match might never have required Kratos to step in. "Is that like a senzu bean?" Gohan asked, curious. "It's like one, but better," Goku replied. "It restores stamina and heals, and it even boosts your physical power a little. At our level, the improvement isn't dramatic, but for someone who just arrived, one of these would be game-changing." "Then why give it to an opponent?" Gohan frowned. "That guy just went up against my father and Uncle Vegeta. He must be exhausted. Now would be the perfect time to finish him off." Vegeta snorted, annoyed. "You idiot. That's not how Saiyans fight. We beat our opponents at their strongest, not when they're weak. Kratos did the honorable thing. You'd do well to learn from him." The crowd buzzed with surprise at the fruit's properties. It was like a senzu bean, but no one had brought senzu beans to this tournament. Hit accepted Kratos' gesture with quiet sincerity. "You, like the man named Son Goku before, are a worthy opponent. I will fight at my full strength." The killing intent around him condensed, and a terrifying aura flared. He was a consummate assassin, a genius in combat. In his fight with Goku earlier, he had already pushed beyond his limits. Facing Kratos promised another chance to break through. Kratos' voice was low and steady. "Then let's begin." A primal, raw aura rose in him. Red fur erupted across his body, his muscles swelled, and his pupils glowed ferocious against a face framed in crimson. Super Saiyan 4. Goku had used Super Saiyan Blue to face Hit. Kratos chose a different challenge. "It's completely different from that blue form." Hit observed and vanished. It wasn't simply speed. Hit's time-skipping ability bent the flow. Half a second later, a phantom handblade condensed from purple ki slashed toward Kratos' neck. The strike was faster than the eye could follow. For the first time, Hit's expression betrayed genuine surprise. Kratos' reaction hadn't been another time technique. He'd simply anticipated the attack. Kratos' reach missed by an instant. Hit's kill strike came up empty. He reappeared and recalculated. "Intuition? A premonition?" Hit murmured. Kratos had watched Hit's matches against Goku and Vegeta and learned his patterns. "Don't underestimate me. I've seen your time skip's flaws. You've used most of your tricks already. If you don't fight seriously, you'll lose." Hit smiled. This was rare. He'd lived 1,000 years and seldom found strong opponents. Today he'd found 3. He increased his time skip to 1 second, weaving through temporal gaps with cunning attack angles. Fists, palms, elbows, deadly purple ki struck from impossible directions. Super Saiyan 4's raw power and heightened instincts let Kratos predict attacks that seemed to come from other moments. On the ring he moved with broad, powerful motions, blocking, dodging, and countering. Each impact sent roars through the arena and cracked the ring's floor. Kratos' defenses and beast-like intuition made up for his relative lack of speed, creating a clash of titans with Hit's elusive time assaults. Shockwaves shook the protective barrier. Everyone watched, riveted. Even the gods of destruction leaned forward. "It's incredible," Gohan breathed. Vegeta, arms crossed, analyzed Hit's time skip with a rare respect. "Watch closely. That's what a Saiyan fight looks like." But Hit had more to give. The assassin pushed his time skip farther, his attacks arriving in a storm of overlapping shadows, as if striking from multiple points in time at once. The frequency overwhelmed Kratos' responses. A few sharp purple finger blasts found his red-furred body, tearing deep wounds. Blood seeped out. The pain unleashed something deeper in Kratos. A roar split the air. A blinding azure light shot skyward. The red fur shrank away, and blue godly flames erupted around him. His black hair deepened into blue. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. The divine aura flooded the arena. Speed, strength, perception, everything leapt forward. Yet a trace of red remained, entwined with the blue. Kratos was attempting to fuse Super Saiyan 4's primal power with the godly calm of Super Saiyan Blue. Under his godly insight, the ripples of Hit's time skip were no longer invisible. They shimmered like faint waves. Kratos locked on to where Hit would reappear. When the assassin materialized with another killing strike, he met not an evasion but a fist wreathed in sacred blue flame, moving with near-timeless speed. The impact rocked the arena. Hit flew back like a comet, crashing into the arena barrier with a deafening crash that left a deep, spreading crater. He spat blood, his purple aura flickered and nearly died. "Shh, the godly realm," Hit coughed, struggling to his feet. He wiped blood from his mouth and looked at Kratos, who stood bathed in blue fire like a descending war god. His face was solemn, but there was a spark of excitement at having found a truly worthy opponent. "You're stronger than Son Goku was." "That is your full power," he said. He had pushed himself to the limit today and had reached the end of his strength. He straightened slowly, and the cold assassin's composure returned. "You're very strong, Kratos. I concede." Hit turned and walked off the stage. The ace assassin of Universe 6 had been defeated. A stunned silence broke into thunderous cheering from Universe 7. Kratos had taken down the famed time-skip assassin. Goku shouted his approval. Vegeta gave a grudging snort of recognition. Even Android 18 praised the boy. His power exceeded Goku and Vegeta's earlier displays. Every universe's spectators nodded in respect. Universe 6, however, seethed in silence. Their greatest fighter was gone. Only one contestant remained. Ciampa's face darkened, his outrage boiled over. The god of destruction's aura flared, suffocating the arena in pressure. "Trash! This is a disgrace," Ciampa bellowed. "I'll handle this myself." He pointed not at Kratos, but at the man watching calmly at ringside. "You, Axis, your candidate's out. Step up, show this great lord what you're worth, Universe 7's candidate." A direct challenge from a god of destruction. All eyes snapped to Axis. Lord Beerus straightened, excited. Whis smiled, intrigued. Axis met Ciampa's fury without haste. He rose and, without a word, curled his lips into a composed, ready expression. In a single step, he was in the center of the arena, opposite the enraged Ciampa. Kratos didn't want him to go. "Father, it's too soon to come out. I haven't lost yet, and Son Gohan hasn't even fought." "That's enough," Axis said flatly. "You and Son Gohan are no match for a god of destruction." At that, Gohan leaped down from the stands. Watching those fierce battles had sparked his Saiyan blood. The scholar was gone. Son Gohan had returned. Chapter 417, Axis versus the God of Destruction. Ciampa, the ultimate showdown. Uncle Axis, just like Kratos said, it's not your turn yet. Opportunities to fight a god of destruction are rare, and I want a real fight too, Gohan said with determination. Axis glanced at him, hoping this wasn't just a flash in the pan. If Kratos wanted to be a true martial artist, he had to learn perseverance. Kratos gave a small, approving smile. His eagerness wasn't bravado. It was the instinct of a warrior. The afterglow of their fight with Hit had barely faded, and the fearsome aura of the god of destruction only stoked his desire for a greater challenge. A battle with a god of destruction. What an intoxicating opportunity. "Father, give me a chance. Mr. Axis, Kratos is right." Gohan's voice carried an unprecedented resolve. He looked at Axis, then turned to the furious Ciampa. Universe 6 still has one contestant who hasn't fought, and I haven't entered the ring either. This fight isn't over. Give us a chance. Gohan, Krillin, Piccolo, and the others in the stands reacted with surprise and delight. It had been a long time since they'd seen such a potent warriorly aura from Gohan. Humph. Now, that's more like a Saiyan, Kakarot's son. A Saiyan should be like this, Vegeta muttered, folding his arms without his usual sarcasm. There was a touch of approval in his eyes. Goku grinned, clenching his fists. Nice. Gohan, go for it. Hey, you two ignorant brats. Champa's temper exploded. His corpulent form trembled with fury, and purple god of destruction energy churned around him like boiling magma. I'm gonna fight that reserve Axis, not you two nobodies. Get out of my way, or I'll destroy you both. Champa's face twisted with fury. His pride as a god of destruction had been wounded like never before. Two mortals daring to block a god of destruction's will? Absurd. Axis looked at Kratos and Gohan standing side by side, then at the enraged Champa. As a father, he wanted his son to fight and experience a god of destruction's power, but this was not the time. If Champa had been himself, it might have been fine as training, but Champa was in no normal state. He was utterly enraged. One wrong move, and he might use god of destruction energy and kill the boys outright. Father, I've fought Lord Beerus before. Please trust me, Kratos said. You two stop messing around. Today really isn't the day, Axis replied. If you're both overflowing with fighting spirit, go find a deserted place on the far side of the planet and spar. Your levels are similar. Kratos might be a little stronger. He can give Gohan a proper lesson. When Kratos had sparred with Beerus, Beerus had been playful and only used about 80% of his power without touching God of Destruction energy. Champa, however, had a far more violent temperament. In the original timeline, he nearly killed contestants like Hit, and if not for the All-King's appearance, Universe 6's fighters would have been wiped out. The angels regarded these lifeforms like toys, cherished them if they pleased, discard them otherwise. Axis wouldn't risk sending the boys into Champa's current madness. Father, how can this be? Axis, you should let the kids fight, Goku protested angrily. It hadn't been easy to get Gohan's fighting spirit back. Shut up, Kakarot. Don't you get the situation? Do you want your son to die here? Vegeta snapped, grabbing Goku and glaring. Sparring a powerful opponent depends on context. Champa was at his limit and reckless. Sending the boys in would be humiliation at best and catastrophe at worst. Axis is right. Now is not the time for them to go up. Trust him, Beerus said, opening his eyes to look at his brother. He understood Champa better than anyone. Champa had lost badly and was on the verge of madness. If those boys stepped into the ring now, Champa would show no mercy. Kratos sighed helplessly but nodded. His father was right. He wasn't anywhere near a god of destruction yet, and Gohan could at least be a worthwhile opponent later, a test and maybe even a punching bag to practice on after a few spirit tree fruits. Come with me, Gohan. Let's find a quiet place and have a good exchange, Kratos said, patting Gohan's shoulder. Ha ha ha! I couldn't ask for more. Kratos seemed satisfied, though disappointed at missing a chance at a god of destruction. Damn it! I want to see Kratos and Gohan fight, but I also want to see Axis and Champa. What do? I want to see both. Goku scratched his head, frustrated that he couldn't use multiple clones to watch both fights. Vegeta snorted. More than the boys, he was looking forward to Axis versus Champa, a true evenly matched clash of gods, very different from Beerus's restrained bout. On the ring, Axis stepped forward to face the enraged Champa. Everyone knew Universe 6 had effectively lost. It wasn't even Axis's turn properly, yet Universe 6's lineup had been decimated, while Universe 7 still had 2 fighters left. Champa didn't speak. He snorted and charged. Rage coalesced into tangible god of destruction power. Violent purple energy erupted like lava around him. The massive platform trembled. Its super-strong alloy surface split into bottomless ravines and spiderweb cracks raced to the protective barrier. Champa tore into the ring, indifferent to rules. His fury destroyed the arena in an instant. The two angels intervened quickly, erecting a protective barrier to contain the two. If two gods of destruction threw themselves at each other without restraint, the results would be catastrophic. Ignorant mortal, disappear. Champa's corpulent form moved with terrifying speed, far beyond what his size suggested. his fist charged with destructive energy aimed at Axis's face. This was no flashy move, just the crushing authority and divine might of a god of destruction. Space groaned and warped before his fist, the sound of shattering ringing out. Axis's eyes were calm as still water. He didn't transform. No red fur, no blue flame, no sudden golden aura. He simply stood. Yet every sensitive being, angels, gods of destruction, top warriors, felt an immense, contained power flowing from him. Axis's ultimate form was not a cosmetic transformation, but the integration of all his strengths. The primal ferocity of Super Saiyan 4, the explosive force of a legendary Super Saiyan, the divine insight of Super Saiyan God, and the destructive essence of God of Destruction energy. It was a perfect manifestation of his root power, akin to Mystic Gohan's sublimation, but even deeper and more complete. As Champa's blow neared, Axis moved with unhurried precision. He cut through the turbulence and met Champa's wrist with an open right hand. In his palm condensed a ball of dark purple energy, refined god of destruction power. Don't think you're the only one who can wield this. Fat cat. Bang! Two streams of purple energy collided in a massive annihilating clash, a purple flash erupting at the point of contact. Axis's palm smacked into Champa's inner wrist. Two homologous but opposing destructive energies met and fought violently. A visible shockwave, laced with purple fissures and dark red ripples, rippled outward. Axis blended destructive energy with the dark red divine power he had integrated and perfected. Crack! The fortress-like shield holding the platform together shattered like glass. The shockwave swept outward, and weaker spectators in the stands, Krillin, Yamcha, Kaba, and others, were forced breathless, stumbling back. If Whis and Vados hadn't raised another angelic barrier in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. How powerful! The aura leaking from them almost killed us, the Universe 7 spectators murmured in terror. Without the angels, only Goku and Vegeta might have withstood it. Is this the true power of a god of destruction? Lord Beerus didn't use his full power against me, did he? Goku asked, surprised. Humph, good you noticed? I only used 70% against you, Beerus said, irritated but watching with interest. My full power doesn't even include God of Destruction divine power. If I used that, I'd be multiplied. Watch closely, kid. Oh my, Whis, your God of Destruction candidate is impressive, Vados said with a faint smile. Ho ho ho, I'm confident in Axis's strength. Perhaps one day I'll call him Lord Axis, Whis answered, amused. Of course, that would only be once Beerus retired. Wherever the shockwave traveled, the platform groaned. Chunks of alloy were peeled away and pulverized into cosmic dust. The void beneath the platform turned into a roiling lake as the battle's force sent towering spatial turbulence outward and black cracks spiderwebbed through reality. What? You actually blocked me? Champa's astonishment replaced his fury. He felt his punch, capable of pulverizing stars, strike an immovable singularity. Not only had the blow not moved Axis, the recoil numbed Champa's arm. The god of destruction energy Axis held was as pure and refined as his own, a legitimate god of destruction power. Even more disconcerting was the foreign element in Axis's strength, a primal, savage wildness from the roots of life, combined with an indescribable, orderly divinity. Axis not only wielded Saiyan divinity, he had also inherited some of the Warhammer universe's divinity. Is that it, Lord Champa? Come on, keep attacking. Let me see a god of destruction's power, Axis said calmly, eyes sharp as knives. Axis suddenly pushed with the hand pressing Champa's wrist. An irresistible force blended with pure destructive energy surged. Champa was driven back a step. His feet dug deep pits into the ground. A faint golden glow emanated from the cracked surface beneath them. The planet on which they fought was in fact a wish-granting orb disguised under dust. Roar! I'll kill you! I'll utterly destroy you. All of you. Champa lost control. His pride as a god of destruction had snapped, and reason fled. He unleashed both fists and filled the sky with a dense, rain-like barrage of purple destructive blasts, each capable of obliterating a planet, raining down like a storm. Simultaneously, his massive form lunged forward in a whirlwind of close-quarters onslaught, feet and fists tearing through space with god of destruction power. Axis laughed coldly and blurred. Rather than meeting the rain head-on, he weaved through the dense gaps with uncanny grace, as if he could predict each blast's arc. When unavoidable, He flicked a finger to thread a refined strand of destructive energy and detonate a blast early, or he'd swing a palm like a blade, cleaving incoming attacks in half. Against Champa's barrage, Axis's combat skill shone. Blocks, deflections, and counters flowed seamlessly. His Saiyan instincts and mastery of divine power let every block strike Champa's weak point. Each counter fused wildness, divinity, and destruction into devastating, refined precision. Boom, boom, boom. Their duel was cataclysmic, yet the angels contained the devastation within the barrier. No god of destruction energy escaped. To the angels, gods of destruction might be fearsome, but they were still unruly children, and they acted like it, extending their staves to manage the outcome. As the fighters moved at high speed, the barrier itself drifted into the planet's orbit. They clashed across the shattered arena, every collision sending deafening roars and ripping up large swathes of space. Dark red divine power and deep purple energy storms tore around them, shredding the already dilapidated platform. Their battle even pierced the void's barrier and spilled into strange, uncharted space. Everyone watched, entranced. My goodness, Axis actually fought a god of destruction to a standstill? Gohan shouted, both exhilarated and stunned. This is his true strength, the ultimate form that integrates all his powers without a need to transform, Vegeta said, excited. Ho ho ho, what a magnificent duel, Whis chuckled, eyes narrowed. Axis's control over his power is perfected. Lord Champa has finally met his match. Oh my, this power, this control, this combat wisdom. He truly deserves to inherit the position of God of Destruction. If Lord Champa doesn't calm down, he may well be defeated, Vados added, her playful smile gone, admiration in her eyes. At the center of the battlefield, an energy storm raged. Axis's ultimate form, integrating all his power, was fearsome, but facing a fully enraged, unrestrained God of Destruction Champa, the pressure on him spiked. Champa's attacks were an unending tide of destruction, each blow carrying God of Destruction power capable of wiping out galaxies. Every block and dodge cost Axis enormous reserves. His mountain-like aura flickered on the edge. Still, this was the kind of blood-boiling battle a Saiyan lived for. He had felt this thrill before, against the Emperor, the Dark King, and Khorne, but none of those opponents matched the power of the God of Destruction standing before him. Axis seized a tiny opening. His figure blurred as he slipped into Champa's guard. With 5 fingers joined, his right hand formed a single, condensed point of dark red light at his fingertips, like the core of a supernova, aimed at Champa's chest. That single finger strike carried everything Axis had integrated: the penetrating power of Super Saiyan 4, the explosive ferocity of the legendary Super Saiyan, the control of Super Saiyan God, and the annihilating essence of God of Destruction energy. Champa's pupils constricted. A raw, unprecedented sense of mortal danger washed over him. He roared, driving all his God of Destruction power into a deep purple, diamond-shaped shield before his chest. The dark red light struck like a red-hot iron through ice. The purple shield quivered. Fine cracks raced out from the point of contact. Champa was shoved backward with unimaginable force, feet carving furrows in the shattered ground until he slammed into the edge of the newly raised angel barrier. The shield on his chest was spiderwebbed with fractures, its glow dimmed, almost pierced through. Silence fell over the battlefield. God of Destruction Champa, Axis said, voice steady, your fury only makes you flawed. Damn it, brat, die for me! Champa bellowed and charged, pouring every ounce of his cultivation and fury into a single killing blow aimed straight at Axis's heart. The strike was blisteringly fast, lethal in intent. Axis's pupils narrowed. If he took it squarely in his current state, he knew he would suffer catastrophic injuries. But a wild plan flashed through his mind. He would turn the risk into advantage. At the last instant, Axis twisted his body just enough to spare his heart, exposing his left chest and shoulder to Champa's punch. He offered only a symbolic block with his right arm and withdrew most of the defensive divine power protecting his internal organs. Champa's punch landed across the junction of Axis's left chest and shoulder. Flesh and bone were torn apart. Even a divine body could not withstand a God of Destruction's blow. Axis made a muffled sound and flew backward, the growth crashing to the ground. A satisfied smile tugged at his mouth. He was right. Champa's hatred and rage had handed him an opportunity. The harder Champa hit him now, the more he would benefit later. Without pause, Champa pressed the attack, landing heavy blows that sent Axis skidding like a broken kite. The whole left side from chest to shoulder was gouged away, the clothes, skin, muscle, even parts of the bone erased by destructive energy. Blood erupted like a fountain, but whenever it touched the purple power, it was annihilated. A deep purple tinge coated Axis's body. His aura guttered like a candle in a windstorm. He looked as if his life might snuff out at any second. "Father," Kratos cried, eyes bloodshot, launching forward. "Don't move," Lord Beerus snapped. Interference wasn't allowed. He couldn't imagine Axis falling so easily. He had seen Axis's speed and knew he could have dodged. For some reason, Axis had chosen to take the hit. "Uncle Axis," son Gohan called out. Goku frowned, puzzled. That was strange. Axis clearly could have dodged. "He's not right," Vegeta said, frowning. Then a thought struck him. He glanced at Kratos and remembered the spirit tree fruit the boy had produced earlier. Axis had once joked that he never used the Saiyan's near-death revival since birth. This was a gamble. He was wagering on the Saiyan rebirth. Whis' smile deepened. As Universe 7's angel, he knew about the Saiyan's peculiar revival trait and had already guessed Axis's plan. Vados of Universe 6 gave the slightest, nearly imperceptible smile in return. "Lord Champa," she called across the void, "if you don't take this seriously, you'll be beaten badly." For a moment, the Universe 7 spectators held their breath. Universe 6's side erupted, then Champa, certain of victory, broke into loud, burling laughter. "Ha! Fool! You actually took my God of Destruction energy head-on?" Champa roared. "Do you think mastering a little God of Destruction energy makes you my equal? There are levels, and I'm far above you. Now die! I'll annihilate you for enraging me." Champa looked down on Axis, expecting him to die at any moment. Joy replaced anger. He was sure no one survived that blow. Even another God of Destruction would have been severely wounded. Axis, a candidate? Dead for sure. He relaxed, dropping his guard to savor victory and the satisfaction of humiliating Lord Beerus. He slammed Axis to the ground repeatedly, blood flowing freely. Axis had never been so broken, so thoroughly beaten, but the smile on his face grew stranger, even wilder. "Damn, brat, you're laughing? I won't destroy you and make Lord Beerus mad for nothing," Champa shouted, anger flaring as Axis mocked him. He condensed a mass of deep purple energy in his palm, preparing to finish off his opponent. All of Universe 7 panicked. Goku leapt forward, only to be held by Vegeta. Kratos was restrained by Beerus. "Vegeta, Axis will be killed. I have to save him," Goku insisted. "Quiet. Kakarot, watch closely. Remember how we fought Frieza," Vegeta snapped. Goku's mind traced back, how being grievously wounded only to recover had led to an explosive rebound in power. Could Axis be pulling the same trick? The thought dawned. He must be. As Champa gloated, Axis's tightly shut eyes snapped open. He rose, opened his personal space, and from nowhere produced a spirit tree fruit. While no one was watching, he shoved it into his mouth. Life energy flooded him. He was at the edge. If he kept being beaten, he would lose consciousness. He was holding his body together with the god's soul. An ordinary fighter would have long since collapsed. Red and green life energy braided through his veins. Damaged muscle and shattered bone knit together under the surge. Axis felt heat crawling through him as the most primitive power in his Saiyan cells ignited. From near death, he began to come back. A roar erupted from his chest, ancient and feral. His nearly extinguished aura exploded outward, swelling at an exponential, terrifying rate. Cells screamed as they pushed past their limits, and from that scream poured unimaginable potential. The golden aura broke free, erupting like an out-of-control volcano, shattering the last of the god of destruction energy clinging to his body. Power poured in an endless torrent. "What?" "Impossible." Champa's laughter died. His eyes bulged as Axis's aura surged beyond his previous peak and stirred a prickling dread in the god of destruction. Axis seemed reborn, changed in an instant. He hovered, dark gold and crimson aura like a halo around him, and calmly looked down at the stunned Champa. "Lord Champa," Axis said, voice unnervingly calm, the ground itself trembling, "thank you for that beating. If it weren't for your blow, I wouldn't have reached this." Vados covered her eyes with one hand and shook her head. "Oh my, Lord Champa, you might be in for a very bad beating. Don't worry, if it goes too far, I'll step in. Consider this a lesson." The people of Universe 7 relaxed as realization spread. Axis had used the Cyan near-death revival. The moment he spoke, Axis's figure vanished, not by high-speed movement or instant transmission alone, but by a perfected mastery of Goku's technique, fused instantaneous teleportation without any wind-up. In the next instant, he appeared directly in front of Champa, so close their faces almost touched. Champa had no time to react. Axis's right fist, heavy as a mountain and fast as lightning, struck Champa's face with destructive force and absolute intent to end it. The impact detonated like nothing before. Champa's face contorted. His head snapped back. Saliva, blood, and a few teeth sprayed out. His massive body rocketed backward, out of control, faster than before. He slammed into the angel barrier Wiz and Vados had raised. Even that seemingly indestructible shield groaned and collapsed inward, forming a deep pit as countless cracks spidered across its surface. The entire arena trembled. Axis dropped down, his hands blurring into afterimages as fist after fist hammered Champa. Bang, bang, bang! The god of destruction had only time to think, who am I? Where am I? This was a savage, one-sided beating. Champa, the fat cat god, was pummeled into a swollen ruin. The arena was frozen in stunned silence, then erupted as the people of Universe 7 realized what they had witnessed. Near death, the fruit, resurrection, and then the god of destruction knocked senseless and brutalized. Axis is incredible, the crowd roared. He actually beat the god of destruction. Universe 6 contestants felt ice in their veins. Their god had been shredded by a candidate. Whis grinned until his eyes curved in crescent moons. Oh ho, what an audacious tactic, Axis, how bold. Lord Beerus sprang to his feet, purple eyes alight. He watched Axis, wild and godlike, and couldn't suppress a dangerous, delighted curl at the corner of his mouth. This guy is a madman, but well done. Keep beating that fat slob. He could tell Axis hadn't used any god of destruction energy, just raw, overwhelming physical force. Beerus couldn't resist the gloat. He even let out a little cat-like jeer, sounding like a contented, taunting mew. In the pit of shattered barrier, Champa whimpered and screamed. It felt as if his skull had been struck by 1,000 planets. Half his face throbbed numb. Humiliation burned hotter than pain. He had been beaten by a candidate. That's enough, Mr. Axis, Vados said, stepping forward. Lord Champa is no longer able to continue. This battle is won by your universe. Please stop. Axis did stop. He still owed Champa a kind of gratitude. If he hadn't taken that beating, Axis wouldn't have had the chance to revive and ascend. Miss Vados, Axis said with a wry smile as he wiped blood from his knuckles, I didn't use any finishing blows. Although it looks bad, he'll be fine. Champa, struggling in the pit, snarled in disbelief. Vados chuckled, tapped her staff, and a soft white light wrapped around the fallen god of destruction. In an instant, Champa's battered form was restored, revived, whole, and furious once more. Chapter 419, The Omni King has arrived, and the High Priest has gone to the Warhammer universe. The fat cat that had been lying on the ground suddenly opened his eyes, leapt up, and glared at Axis with fury. Damn you! How dare you! How dare you! God of Destruction, Champa was both furious and terrified. Furious because he'd been humiliated. The dignity of a god of destruction had been trampled into the dirt. Terrified because he knew he couldn't win. Axis's power was just too great. At the start of the fight, Champa had imagined it would be a close match, maybe even 50-50, but since Axis had revived from near death, their levels had diverged completely. Champa was being soundly beaten. Oh, Lord Champa, that's enough. Please don't make a spectacle of yourself, Vados said with a faint smile from the side. Damn it. Woo, Vados, whose side are you on? I was the one getting beaten, and you didn't comfort me. Champa roared, utterly aggrieved. Come on, cry it out loud. Do you want to throw yourself into Vados's arms and call her mommy a few times? Axis mocked. You're acting like an overgrown child, whining to your mama. Everyone from Universe 7 covered their mouths as they stared at Champa. To be fair, Champa's behavior had resembled a spoiled child clinging to his mother. Champa's face turned even redder, and he glared at Axis. Pfft! Lord Champa was indeed raised by Vados. When he was a baby, she looked after him, and under her careful nurturing, he grew this big. So really, calling her mommy a few times wouldn't be that strange, Vados said with a smile. Damn it, Vados. I'm not calling you mommy. You bastard, shut up. You win this time. The 6 wish-granting orbs are yours, Champa spat. Those were our spoils of war to begin with, Beerus said smugly. By the way, I never realized you treated your angel like your mother. Such a grown child. Beerus had found another sore spot and wasn't about to let it go. Champa stormed off to his spectator box, glaring at his own team, and then a purple glow gathered in his palm. 2 orbs of destruction energy appeared. The gods and mortals of Universe 6 went pale. Lord Champa, what are you doing? Kaba asked. You tell me? Champa snapped. You lot made us lose. I told you to fight with your lives on the line and you ignored me. None of you will escape death today. Champa had no way to salvage his own humiliation in front of Universe 7, but he wasn't going to let his people talk about it. If he couldn't be respected, he'd silence his contestants, kill them on the spot. He'd deal with the World King afterwards and expect him not to gossip. Hit's face hardened. Die? If they'd deliberately thrown the match, he'd have no complaints, but they'd been beaten fair and square, and Universe 7 had steamrolled them. The idea of extermination for losing a fair fight felt outrageous. But Lord Champa, we fought hard. You only appeared at the end, Frost protested. How dare you disrespect a god of destruction? None of you will survive today, Champa snarled. Everyone in Universe 7 reacted with alarm at the idea Champa would slaughter his own people. Goku, Piccolo, and Vegeta all moved to intervene. Vegeta because he respected Kaba, but Lord Beerus waved them back. That's an internal matter for another universe. We shouldn't interfere. You all did well today. Let's get ready to go home, Beerus said. Gods of destruction didn't hesitate to kill, and they answered to no one. If something displeased them, it was destroyed. It was just another day for them. Then the atmosphere shifted. The 2 angels stiffened and rose. Axis felt a strange key in the center of the arena. 2 tall, slender figures in blue and red robes appeared, accompanied by a small, round, and bewilderingly cute child. Lord Champa! Lord Beerus! Both angels warned at once. Champa, seething, roared. I'll destroy you all. Use whatever time skip, whatever Super Saiyan. I'll show you a god of destruction's power for daring to mock me. But even as Champa raged, everyone in Universe 6 thought, when did we ever mock you? You embarrassed yourself. The female angel tapped Champa's head with her staff in exasperation. Whis twisted Beerus's head. The gazes of both gods of destruction swept to the center and froze. Their faces lost color. Cold sweat broke out. They almost flew to the newcomer and bowed 180 degrees. Al Omni King! Champa's voice trembled. Greeting, Omni King. Beerus stammered, sweat already soaking the floor. Gods of destruction, who feared nothing in the cosmos, were reduced to quivering before this child. The Omni King was an existence beyond universes, and all lesser beings, even gods of destruction, bowed. The Omni King spoke in an innocent, childlike voice. What are you doing? This looks interesting. That small one over there gives off a very unsettling feeling, said the World King of Universe 7 nervously. Old Kai snapped at him, slapping his descendant across the face. You idiot! You don't even recognize the Omni King? How did you become a World King? Old Kai scolded, incredulous at the decline in his line. Everyone in Universe 7 glanced at the child. He looks like just a kid. Who is he? Axis stayed serious. This harmless little child was the true terror, the absolute ceiling of Dragon Ball power. The Omni King could erase a universe with a wave. His power to erase transcended destruction energy. Gods of destruction were nothing before him. Officially, his 2 attendants were second only to the Grand Priest in strength, stronger than angels. The angels descended and bowed, and Axis followed suit, hoping to make a good impression. He'd read rumors before transmigrating. Omni King was beyond universe level, able to erase and recreate universes, and there were mysteries even the Grand Priest apparently hadn't explained. Some conspiracy theories claimed the Omni King was a puppet, but no one really knew. The Omni King looked at Axis and nodded. You must be the god of destruction candidate from Universe 7. You fought well. I watched. Champa's face drained of color, and his body trembled. Several World Kings flew over and also knelt, shaking. The angels took their places beside their gods. Omni King, we did not expect your arrival. What brings you here? Beerus asked, voice thin. I came because you're having activities without permission. I wanted to remind you not to forget your duties. Don't get lazy, the Omni King said. Our sincerest apologies, Beerus babbled. Whis, anxious to explain, added, Lord Beerus prefers sleeping to destruction, and is passionate about gourmet food. Lord Champa isn't careful about his health. He's out of shape and his power has dropped. He lost to Universe 7's candidate. I'm worried he can't fulfill his duties. Boo-hoo. And he dislikes my cooking, Vados chimed in, pretending to cry. Axis couldn't help the twitch at the corner of his mouth. Was it really okay for angels to report on their masters like this? The Omni King studied Axis, dead serious. Then maybe we should change the god of destruction. At once both Champa and Beerus's ears perked. Change gods? That was unthinkable. A god of destruction wasn't supposed to be swapped on a whim, but the Omni King could do anything he pleased. Your name is Axis, right? Your combat power is quite strong. Perhaps you'd be better suited than Champa. How about becoming the god of destruction of Universe 6? The Omni King said. Champa went limp on the ground, that begging, no, please, Omni King. I will work harder. I won't neglect my duties. Omni King, the god of destruction for each universe must come from that universe. I haven't found a suitable candidate for Universe 6 yet, so Champa probably can't be replaced, Vados said with a smile. Oh right, I almost forgot about that rule, the Omni King said, as if it were a minor detail. Then do you think he is qualified? If not, I'll break the rule this once, and let someone from Universe 7 serve as Universe 6's god of destruction. Champa shot a pleading look at Vados. All King, he's silly and gluttonous and doesn't like my cooking, but overall, he's not that bad. Don't replace him yet. Wah, thank you, Vados, Champa sobbed. Fine, we'll observe him for now, the Omni King said. I originally came to remind you, but your fight was so interesting, I decided to stay. Next time, I'll invite all the other universes and hold a larger event. Really? That's fantastic. Goku stepped forward, eager to speak to the Omni King, but Axis intercepted him and knocked him out. No way Goku was getting close to the big shot. Kakarot, you wait over there. Omni King, if you'd like even more exciting matches, I can select top fighters from other universes, Axis offered. He wanted another wish from the Super Dragon Balls, maybe to bring in the Great Demon King or other world bosses to spice things up. The gods stared at Axis like he was suicidal. You want to die, fellow? Really? Other universes? The Omni King said, intrigued. I can go into my world and find interesting beings if you like, Axis said. He could bring in warp gods or star gods, entities beyond typical Dragon Ball fighters. The Omni King hopped like an excited child to Axis and took his hand. Axis swallowed and shook it. You're an interesting person. I sense spatial power. You were born in our universe but can travel to other worlds. I'm bored playing by myself. Your universe seems dark and full of evil. I sometimes want to erase it, the Omni King said. Cold sweat broke out on Axis. Did the Omni King know about the Warhammer universe? It didn't seem impossible. If someone even a bit below God of Destruction level could crush it, the Omni King surely knew. However, your power is special. You can travel to other universes. You could strengthen this with the Super Dragon Balls, not limited to our universe. I mean all universes related to Ki, the Omni King said. Axis flinched. Not just the Warhammer universe and the Dragon Ball world, other Ki-based universes? The Grand Priest has already gone to look, or the Omni King added casually. Your existence links two worlds. That place is very evil. Should I just erase it? Axis's mind reeled. The Grand Priest went there? Did the Grand Priest go to the Warhammer universe to investigate? When did that happen? Chapter 420, the High Priest trapped in the Warhammer, the Super Dragon's Wish, and Axis's Dragon Ball. Erasing the Warhammer universe? Don't be ridiculous. That's not your call. All King chuckled. He wasn't going to wipe the Warhammer universe just because Axis suggested it. He was only teasing, the way he teased other gods of destruction. All King, when did the Grand Priest go to the world I transmigrated to? Axis asked. All King's expression turned serious. You want to know? I can tell you. When you first left our universe, the Grand Priest detected a space-time rift. The rift opened quickly, swallowed you, and then vanished. Later, as your power grew, when you became a god, a beacon, the Grand Priest still couldn't locate you. Only when you used your unique ability to return home did we discover that passage. The Grand Priest followed it. If you hadn't been the one to open it, he couldn't have gone through, but once he did, he couldn't come back. All King had come for two reasons. Urging the god of destruction to finish the mission was one. The other was to ask Axis to bring the Grand Priest back. All King, do you mean the Grand Priest is still in my world? Axis said. Yes, your ability is very special, very powerful. Even the Grand Priest can't transmigrate worlds like you can. That power only fully manifested after you became a god. So can you bring him back for us? All King asked. Of course, Axis replied without hesitation. But another question surfaced. If the Grand Priest had gone in alone, how did All King know that the other universe was so terrible that it deserved eradication? How did the Grand Priest send news back if he's trapped there? Axis asked. The Grand Priest managed to send some telepathic messages, All King said, but only fragments. After the rift closed, he was stuck. He could only send a rough impression. Still, from what he sent, I think that universe is truly awful. Its mortal life index is very low. All King explained the numbers. That world's index was about 0.8, worse than any of the universes they already considered poor. For comparison, Universe 9's worst index was 1.2, Universe 7 hovered near 3.3, and the top 4 universes exceeded 7. Axis listened and exhaled, relieved. All King's power to erase was absolute, but he had to be in the target universe to use it. Even someone as powerful as the Grand Priest couldn't freely travel between worlds without the right conditions. Without Axis's return path, the Grand Priest would likely be trapped in the Warhammer universe forever, able only to send back the scant reports he managed before the passage collapsed. Anything else? Axis asked. No, but what we just discussed is settled. Bring over some formidable fighters, and we'll hold a tournament together. All King said with a hint of excitement. No problem, so long as you don't erase my universe on a whim, Axis replied. He couldn't help the smile as All King dismissed the idea, half tempted but too lazy to bother. With a wink and a word, All King and his attendants vanished as streaks of light. I never thought Father would actually go to your universe, Whis said, looking at Axis. No wonder I haven't been able to contact him or sense his key lately. Vados watched Axis with interest as well. Angels led dull jobs. It was natural they'd be curious about other worlds. If All King had dismissed Lord Champa and made Axis the god of destruction here, Vados mused, it might have been far more entertaining. I only found out about it recently too, Axis said. But don't worry, I'll bring the Grand Priest back after I make a wish to the Super Dragon. Stop wasting time. This is All King's mission. Do it quickly. Find the last wish orb. Lord Beerus ordered. Champa agreed. Nothing mattered more than carrying out All King's command. Axis pointed down. The 7th wish orb is right beneath our feet. During the fight earlier, you might have seen golden light from under the planet. It's covered in void dust. I'll clear it. He pressed his palm to the planet's surface and let his god of destruction energy wash over the dust, leaving a perfect wish orb exposed. I thought the last one would be somewhere else, Beerus muttered. Then make your wish, Beerus ordered. Axis, bring the Grand Priest back immediately. Axis nodded. The angels and gods gathered the 7 giant orbs, chanted the language of the gods, and a column of golden light shot skyward. The super dragon manifested, a being vast as a galaxy. For conversation, a smaller golden avatar stood before them. It ignored most of the crowd and fixed its gaze on the 2 angels. It spoke in the inscrutable divine tongue that only angels, gods of destruction, the world king god, and Axis could understand. God who gathered the Dragon Balls, speak your wish. I can grant one wish. True to form, the super dragon only granted wishes for gods. Whis turned to Axis. You want to strengthen your transmigration ability, don't you? No, Teacher Whis, Axis said. I had Earth's dragon help enhance the ability before. Returning to my universe isn't a problem now. For this wish, I want the power to create Dragon Balls. Whis nodded. Axis wanted to make Dragon Balls of his own. Once he had them, he could use them to retrieve the Grand Priest and more. The super dragon's eyes glowed red. A golden aura washed over Axis. The method to create Dragon Balls and the ability to command dragons flowed into his mind, much like the Namekians' control over their dragons. With the fragments of a wish orb, Axis would now be able to craft his own Dragon Balls. Your wish is granted, the super dragon intoned. It gave Whis a brief nod, ignored Axis, and then transformed back into 7 giant wish orbs that dispersed across universes 7 and 6. Once you've made your Dragon Balls, return to your world and bring your father back, Whis said. Without the Grand Priest to manage things here, chaos could follow. Axis agreed. After some farewells, Vados escorted some of the group back to Universe 6. Whis returned others to Universe 7's Earth, and the rest dispersed. Kratos, weren't you going to fight Son Gohan? Axis asked. I wanted to see a god of destruction's battle up close, Kratos said. Last time I clashed with Lord Beerus, he wasn't taking it seriously. That battle was important to me too, Son Gohan said. We planned to watch Axis's match before we fought. No problem. Fight whenever you like, Axis said. Kratos and Gohan decided to head to the ice continent to spar where they wouldn't disturb anyone. Goku and Vegeta waved off Axis and went their own way. The rest of Universe 7 went their separate routes, Beerus and Whis back to Beerus's planet included. When things quieted, Axis found a secluded place and took out the fragments of the Wish Orb. The first step was selecting materials. The 2 large fragments he held, combined, were just enough to make 7 Dragon Balls. He shaped them. Under Axis's divine power, the fragments deformed, solidified, and became 7 colossal Dragon Balls, each the size of a small house. He set parameters: appearance, number of wishes, the character of the divine dragon. He decided his dragon would resemble Earth's Shenron in form but be golden like the Super Dragon, a 5-clawed celestial serpent. It would be enormous, larger than a planet, and second only to the Super Dragon in stature and might. Crucially, these Dragon Balls would be bound to Axis personally, not to any single universe. They would not scatter across realms. The divine dragon's power would replenish over time, but Axis could also spend his own divine energy to restore it faster. There would be no limit to the number of times it could be revived, and as Axis grew in power, so would his dragon. A warning came through as well. Each wish would generate a kind of negative energy proportional to the scale of the wish and the disturbance it caused in reality. If that negative energy accumulated, an evil aspect of the divine dragon could emerge, an entity that would disobey even its creator. It was best to cleanse that negativity after each wish. Left alone, the dragon would take about 100 years to purge itself. With Axis's help, that process could be sped up. Axis accepted the risk. He finished the rites and gave the divine dragon a name drawn from Eastern myth, Pangu. 7 beams of thick golden light shot from the Dragon Balls, slashing the sky and converging into a single point. The point swelled, twisting like a primordial singularity, and a roar, like the birth cry of a new cosmos, shook the heavens. A golden dragon larger than Earth unfurled itself, the silhouette of Shenron, but resplendent and majestic, blazing with fierce divine power. The entire solar system bathed in its light. My creator, my master, the dragon intoned, bowing its massive head to Axis. I am Pangu, divine dragon. Speak your wish. Whatever it may be, I can grant it. Great creator, you may now speak 3 wishes.